give me a flush. 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 God. A straight. Hey, a straight.
Hey, Van, Elizabeth and I have a play date with her friend Mindy, and we really want you to come.
What? Cheyenne, can you not stand there? You've always been bad luck.
I said Elizabeth and I have a play date with her friend Mindy, and we really want you to come.
Sorry, I got a play date with the royal family.
You know what, Van? We have a problem. You have been really distant lately.
I know. I'm sorry.
Fine, play your silly little game. Just help me out to the car.
Yeah, but I'm in the middle of a game.
I said help me out to the car.
Mrs. H, will you sit in for me?
Oh, I hadn't played poker in a long time.
That's okay. My screen name is Screen Name. Keep that to yourself.
Okay. I'll call. No, wait, I don't have anything. I want to take it back. How do I take it back? Wait, whoa. 3 7s. Leave it. Ah, I win. What a rush.
Okay. Thanks, Mrs. H. I'll take it from here. Okay, Mrs. H.
Keep tapping me, you're going to lose that arm.
Why are all the women in this family so mean?
Pirates are planted in the past, though my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I wanna be. A single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never stops, with gentle hands and the heart of a fighter. I'm a survivor.
Mom, I want to play on the computer.
Jake, we have a perfectly good television over there. Use it. Hey, Reba. I heard you caught the gambling bug. It's just a game. Give me your credit card. Oh, isn't that cute? Little chat boxes next to the other players. Do you have to play to get a screen name? Mm-hmm. Because I want to be Wookiee lover. Wookiee lover? Mm-hmm. That's the most ridiculous screen name I've ever heard. Well, what's yours? Ramblin' Red Rose.
My screen name is Lady Killer.
Okay, Elizabeth, you and Mindy can get a juice box.
Who's your boyfriend?
Jake? Little brothers. I'm gonna tell Mom about that magazine under your mattress.
Actually, that's a good question. Who's this?
Oh, Michael, this is my mom, Reba, and my stepmom, Barbara Jean.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. You have a lovely daughter and granddaughter.
And you've got a lovely something else.
You know what? I think I might have left Elizabeth blankie at your house. You know, I'll come by later and grab it.
Make sure you do. I'm having a garage sale on Saturday.
No!
Okay, gotta go.
Okay.
Mindy, let's go, baby.
Okay, seriously, who is that?
That's Mindy's dad.
Where's Mindy's mom?
Oh, they're divorced. We talked about it for like hours. He even cried a little. Yeah, he said he wasn't sure if he'd ever find love again. I cried a little too.
Well, where were the kids while you two were doing all this crying?
They were playing in the treehouse. You guys, he has the most beautiful backyard. Yeah, he made us brunch and we picnicked on the lawn. He's so funny, too. He told me the story about this time. Okay, well, you had to be there.
Cheyenne, you had a date with this man.
It was not a date. We had shrimp scampi and a glass of Chardonnay on the swing in the gazebo.
Cheyenne, honey, my honeymoon wasn't that good.
No, and I have to go back there to get Elizabeth's blankie.
Well, fix your lipstick before you go and throw on a little perfume.
What?
Well, I'm not saying she should date the man, but there's nothing wrong with a woman getting a little attention from others. Keeps the marriage fresh.
Kind of the way you freshened my marriage with Brock. Cheyenne, you have to talk to Michael and tell him the truth. Tell him you're a married woman and you don't feel comfortable being alone with a single man. He'll understand.
Yeah, that's probably best.
Remember, be firm.
Oh, I've been doing squats.
Yes, 3H winner!
Mr. H, that's like 4 hands in a row. How'd you get so good at playing poker?
When Barbara Jean and I were separated, I had a lot of time to think. And that bothered me, so I started playing poker online. Yeah, nothing huge, just, fun stuff to pass the time, keep me out of my head.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't like it in my head either.
Well, of course you don't. You're a guy. We're simple. We are thinking one of 3 things. I want a sandwich, I want a woman who can make me a sandwich.
Why don't women know we're simple? I mean, Cheyenne always wants me to listen. That's fine if I got a magazine or something. But it's just, I don't know, we've been kind of strained lately. And I'm just feeling, well, I don't really like talking about the way I feel because it makes me feel, well, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's how men are. We don't like a lot of the yik-yak and the blah, blah, blah.
Oh, don't forget the blah, 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 blah.
The only way for a man to be happy is to get really good at pretending to listen.
Yeah, but Cheyenne always knows when I'm pretending.
Well, then you have to practice what I call half listening. That's when you listen for a key word that you can repeat back as proof that you were paying attention.
You are really good at this relationship stuff. You can tell you've been married twice.
And when a woman starts talking, you just nod your head and say, mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll throw in, cool.
Cool.
Yeah, but listen, that's only for the really skilled half listener because inevitably she's going to say something like, my cat got run over by a car today, and you'll say, cool.
What happens then?
You buy her flowers.
Mr. H, this is awesome. You know what? I'm gonna buy Cheyenne some flowers. Daisies, those are her favorite.
Hey, listen, have them write something really chick-like on the card, okay? Lay it on as thick as you can. The more ridiculous it sounds to you, the more she's gonna like it.
Mr. H, you're saving me here. You are an awesome father-in-law.
Yeah, I know. It's great to have someone to teach this stuff to. Okay. Whoa, dang. This red rose is really good. Hey, red rose, take it easy. You're scooping up my money like an ex-wife.
I just love a man who gives me his money. Yeah. Oh, check it out. He's a hoot, and his screen name is Golden God.
If you look half as good as you play poker, you should be a model. He's probably married to some pathetic sad sack.
Oh, look at that.
Hey.
Oh, did you tell him?
Yeah, he got really quiet. Guys don't really take it that well when they know they're not going to see me anymore.
What exactly did you say to him?
Well, I didn't want to hurt his feelings, so I told him that I really liked him, that I wasn't sure Elizabeth was enjoying her play dates.
That makes it sound like you like him, but you don't want the kids around.
Oh, no, Mom. I was very clear about the way I said it. My body language was, it's over. I mean, seriously, I had my arms folded.
Cheyenne, that's not clear. Folding your arms could mean I'm cold, hold me.
It could also mean, what up, dog?
Got a delivery for Cheyenne Montgomery.
That's me. Thanks. Who would send me flowers?
Oh, gee, I don't know. Maybe somebody has a huge crush on you, like Michael? Oh, no, it couldn't be him. You folded your arms.
Maybe it's not him. It could be Van.
You are the air I breathe and the beats of my heart. I live to listen to your words.
Sounds like Van.
Oh, that's not Van. This is Michael. Oh, that is just so forward. Makes me so mad, I just want to put on some lipstick and go over there.
Flowers? He sends me flowers? You guys at Van CCT is gonna break.
How did this Michael guy know that you like daisies?
I might have told him the daisies were my favorite flowers.
You told him your favorite flower? Cheyenne, that is like emotional third base.
Well, it's obvious that this guy's not gonna just go away.
No, what did I do? I didn't mean to lead him on. Why did God curse me with subtle beauty and a bubbly personality?
Okay, are you ready to listen to me now? You need to call Michael and tell him straight up that you are a married woman and he cannot contact you anymore.
Or better yet, send him flowers with a nasty note.
What?
I once had a gentleman caller who kept sending me flowers against my will. So I sent him flowers back with a nasty note, and it worked. I never saw him again. I mean, sometimes I sensed my photograph was being taken. But I never saw him again.
Barbara Jean, that's not gonna work.
Oh, yes, it will. This Michael guy clearly speaks the language of the flora. Now, if we only knew what his favorite flower was.
Oh, it's a tie between birds of paradise and azaleas.
Is there anything you two didn't talk about?
Just right. Stay out of my life or I will call the police. Enjoy these birds of paradise.
Cheyenne, talk to Michael. And this time, don't use body language. It was your body that got you into this mess. I'm gonna take these flowers and throw them in the trash before Van sees them. Do it my way, Cheyenne. I am not wrong.
I think she's wrong.
So wrong. Send flowers.
Okay.
Someone just took my picture.
I speak 7 languages, and I'm a crack shot with the crossbow. How about you?
Some say I remind them of an American-looking Antonio Banderas. Especially when I dance the flamenco. My hair is the color of the morning sun. Hence the name, Golden God.
Mr. H. Mr. H. Mr. H!
What?
We have a problem. I found the daisies I sent Cheyenne in the trash.
In the trash? If you told me she was that mad at you, we could have gone with roses from the get-go.
Mr. H, maybe I should just start paying attention to my wife.
You don't want to go there, son. Look, just order the flowers and we'll go from there.
All right, got it.
Oh, and leave those flowers here.
Why?
I don't know, something about Barbara Jean feeling neglected and blah, 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 and anyway, I'm in trouble.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, Michael. Those aren't roses.
No, they're birds of paradise.
Yeah, flowers are flowers. Just give me the pigeons of paradise.
I would really like to give these flowers to Cheyenne myself.
Hey, Michael. Buddy, listen, I really appreciate the enthusiasm for the job, but I'm gonna tip you $1 either way. So why don't you just give me the flowers, and I'll make sure Cheyenne gets them.
No, but they're not for Cheyenne. They're from Cheyenne.
Cheyenne got me flowers?
Not exactly.
Well, who else would you get him for? I'm her husband.
Here you go.
He forgot his dollar.
Van, I don't think those flowers are for you.
Well, I think someone's a little jealous. I'll just put these here so lonely people can enjoy them too. Now let's just see what she has to say.
Van, don't read the card. It's bad luck to read the note.
I had a nice time with you, and I'm very sorry, but I could never see you again. 3 years of marriage and a child together, and that's a nice time?
There's been a mistake.
Yeah, I think there has been a mistake.
And here's Cheyenne to explain it.
Explain what?
Remember those flowers that you sent earlier? Well, they were, returned. And Van thinks that the note is for him. And since I'm the only one who's not getting flowers today, I'm gonna go have some wine.
Well, I'm waiting.
Okay, Van, those flowers, they weren't for you. They were for another man.
What?
No. See, Mindy's daddy, Michael, and I had what I thought was a totally innocent play date, only later I realized that he thought it was a little less play and a little more date.
I'll kill him.
No, Van, no, stop. Van, it didn't mean anything.
Oh, yeah? It didn't mean anything, huh? Well, this lovely arrangement of pigeons of paradise means something. You know, for $1 extra, you could have had a balloon.
You know what, Van? Maybe it did mean something, okay? Maybe I was a little more lonely than I thought, and it was nice to have someone who actually listens to me.
Oh.
Oh? See, I pour my heart out to you, and you say, oh? I need you to talk to me, Van.
Oh.
Van!
I'm sorry. I'm just not good at it.
Can you try, please?
Cheyenne, it's been a hard couple of months. And since I've been out of football, I've been feeling kind of empty.
Talk to me about this.
Okay. Cheyenne, I feel empty.
Baby. What else? What else?
Well, I want a sandwich. I'm hungry. I'll get that.
Flowers for Cheyenne Montgomery.
How you doing? You stay away from my wife, pal. Or you'll be sorry. Yeah, you better run.
Van, it says you sent these.
Okay, Golden God. I'm going to call it a night. You want to play again tomorrow?
No can do, Red Rose.
Why not? Got a flamenco lesson?
No, you've taken all my money. But I had a lot of fun.
Likewise. Since we won't be doing this anymore, should we tell each other our real names?
Why not? I live in Houston, and my name is Brock.
also live in Houston, and my name is Kevin. Hey, Cheyenne, I'm making chili. It's got melted cheese, sour cream, and 2 sticks of butter in it. I call it stroke in a bowl.
No chili for me. Van and I are dieting.
Cheyenne, the last time you were on a diet, you were sucking the cookie dough right out of the tube.
I'm serious. We are committed to this.
Why are you on a diet anyway? You look fantastic.
Oh, I know. But Van is all worried that he's gonna get fat now that he's not playing football, so he's dieting, and I'm being forced to join.
Well, they say those are the keys to a good marriage, vanity and hunger. Oh my gosh, it's almost 1 o'clock. Barbara Jean will be here any minute to get her dog. Would you go call it in from the backyard?
Oh, sure. Brock! You know, I still think it's weird that Barbara Jean named her dog after Dad.
Yeah, it's so mean to the dog.
Come on, Brock! Come on, good dog! Brock! Hey, Mom, I thought Barbara Jean didn't want her dog to go outside.
She didn't. That's why I have to get it back to room temperature.
I don't see her out here.
Yoo-hoo! I'm back! Oh, where is my precious little baby brother?
Go find that dang dog, and when you find her, hold her over the chili pot to warm her up.
Come on, little Brock. Time for kissing.
Well, at least buy her a glass of wine first.
Hi, Reba. Thanks so much for watching Brock. Was she any trouble?
Oh, hardly knew she was here. Still don't.
Where is she?
Well, I really don't know right now. Last time I saw her, she was upstairs watching television.
Reba, on the Brock watching instructions I left with you, it explicitly states no TV.
Relax, it was PBS. It was a dog show. And she was fascinated to see that some dogs don't have to wear turtlenecks.
Well, I certainly hope you didn't play fast and loose with the rest of this stuff. Did she do her doggy Pilates?
Yes. Yes, she did.
Oh,
Mom, you know that thing that you wanted me to heat up? Well, I can't find it.
Are you sure you looked everywhere? Because sometimes that thingy likes to dig in my azaleas.
what is going on?
Oh, nothing. We're just looking for Jake.
Yep.
Little booger won't stay out of the flowers.
Yeah.
Where's my dog?
We really don't know for sure. It was outside.
Reba! That is #1 on the list in bold type.
Barbara Jean, it wanted to go outside. It already peed on everything in here. Are you sure you have looked everywhere?
Well, I think so. I mean, I kept calling her name.
What if it's really gone?
Look, we are gonna find the dog. Everyone just needs to calm down.
He's gone! My Brock is gone. Somebody has taken my Brock.
You know, when I had to say that a while back, I was a lot calmer.
My roots are planted in the past, though my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I wanna be. A single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never stops. with gentle hands and the heart of a fighter. I'm a survivor.
Oh my gosh, you do? Oh, that is such a relief. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will be right down.
Somebody found the dog.
No, they have a 6.5 in the black pump. I'm gonna be at the mall.
You're not going anywhere until we find that dang dog.
Hey, I picked up Mr. H and I put up all these flyers. Hope to heaven that dog can read.
Brock, what happened to your ear?
What? Oh, this? I cut myself shaving.
You shave your ear?
Hey, your body goes through lots of changes after you turn 40. Yeah, I'm shaving in a lot of places I never thought I'd have to.
You know, Mr. H, you should try waxing.
Huh?
You don't have to do it as often. Yeah, I did it once for fun.
Yeah?
Now I am hooked.
Kara, where have you been?
Barbara Jean wanted me to get a tape of the dog to give to the police.
Why didn't you just give them a picture?
Because it doesn't capture her spirit.
She only had the dog a week. How many tapes can she have?
These are just from yesterday. Check this out.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loves me till the end. So let me tell you about my best friend. He's a one-horse puppy, so and I up and down my pride and joy. People, let me tell you about him. He's so much fun. Whether we're talking man to man, whether we're talking friend to friend, he's my best friend. Yeah, he's my best friend.
I feel sorry for the poor sap who had to videotape all of that.
$80 is $80.
I just don't understand it. How did the dog get out? Are you sure one of you guys didn't leave the gate open?
No way. Maybe it found a hole underneath the fence.
Or a hawk swooped down and took her away. Oh man, that would be awesome to see. Well, I mean, terrible for Barbara Jean, but awesome to see.
You know, I feel bad for Barbara Jean and all, but to be honest, kind of hated that little dog. Barbara Jean, are you okay?
Yeah, where were you? Well, while you guys were all running around with your heads cut off, I did something productive. I went to see a psychic.
Well, did she know what happened to the dog?
Oh, she knew.
So tell us, what'd she say?
Well, one person in this room already knows what she said.
Wait a minute, who's a psychic, her or us?
She told me that someone in my family, somebody that I trust, killed my dog.
No fair, there's no one to the left of me.
Barbara Jean, nobody in this family would hurt your dog, no matter what Madam Whackjob said.
Her name is Jackie the All-Seen.
Well, with a last name like that, you practically have to become a psychic.
You know what I think? I think you did it, Reba. I think you're the one Jackie the All-Seen saw.
I didn't do anything. I love that dog.
Oh, you're right.
What?
Mom, you always complained about four-legged Brock. When she brought her over here, you hid and pretended like you weren't home.
Why, Reba? Were you jealous of my relationship with that dog? Is that why you didn't take good care of her?
If anybody didn't take good care of her, it was you, dressing her up like a canine Elton John. She was a dog, Barbara Jean. She wanted to go outside.
Outside, Reba? Oh, good Lord, she's not an animal.
All right. Here's what happened. I know over at your house they have different rules, but over here at my house, little doggies go on the floor. There you go. You hardly have any legs. How'd you do that? Okay, come on. There you go. Alrighty then, come on. Come on, dog. Be a dog. Yeah, I read the list. What are you gonna do? Tell on me?
She did tell on you through Jackie the All-Seeing.
Barbara Jean, I'm not the first person to put a dog out in the yard.
Oh, good Lord, Reba. There are killer hawks everywhere.
That's what I said. That'd be awesome to see.
I just did not want her up there on my counter, and she wouldn't have been if you didn't treat her like she could walk on water.
Walk on water?
Yeah.
Reba, what is dog spelled backwards?
Look, it doesn't matter how Barbara Jean treated the dog. You shouldn't have put her out in the backyard.
Yeah, Mom, you went against Barbara Jean's instructions. Her printed, laminated, color-coded instructions.
I tried to tell her.
God! It spells God.
Clearly, you didn't like the dog, or else you wouldn't have put it out in the yard.
Well, I guess since you're the expert on not liking dogs, Brock, you're the one who said you hated the dog.
Brock hater.
No, Barbara Jean, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
And you're always telling me how much you hate the dog.
Oh, yeah, since when do you listen to what I say? Look, sure, I didn't like sharing my toothbrush with the dog, but that doesn't mean I did anything to it. I mean, how could I? I wasn't even in the yard.
Yeah, you were. I saw you.
See, it's not me. Brock's at fault. It's a natural law. The sun sets in the west and Brock's at fault.
You hated the dog. You lied about being in the yard, and come to think of it, you had something in your hand. Something that looked like a sack. A dog napping sack.
It wasn't a dog napping sack, it was a pillowcase.
Oh, Reba, I'm so scared. Hold me.
No.
Okay, fine. I was in the yard. But I wasn't there to hurt the dog. I was there to make friends with it.
By stuffing her in a pillowcase? This is why we don't have friends.
The vet said that I should get her used to my scent. So I sprayed some of my cologne on a pillowcase and I brought it over here for her to smell. It was going fine. At first. Good girl. Hey, listen. I'm not such a bad guy. I'm a good guy. Yeah, smell that. That's obsession. For men. It's a pleasant, manly scent. Come here. Come here. You see? I'm not a bad guy. Give me some sugar. Oh. My ear. You monster.
So you didn't cut yourself shaving?
Of course not. I'm not old enough to shave in my ears.
Well, it wouldn't kill you to go up the nostrils a little bit.
It made you angry, didn't it?
Angry enough
To kill?
Look, I'll admit I wasn't happy. But when I left the yard, the dog was fine.
Doesn't look good, Mr. H. You know what they do to dog killers in jail? Especially pretty ones like you.
or pretty ones like you?
Well, when I say it's not creepy.
You just admitted you were in the yard, too.
Who?
You!
What?
His heart beat faster, but his brain continued to run at the same speed.
Van?
I wasn't in the yard. I was in the garage.
No, you weren't.
Oh? How do you know?
Because I was in the garage, waiting for you to come work out with me, but you never showed up.
Maybe he didn't need a workout. Maybe he'd already broken a sweat by digging a teeny tiny little grave.
I didn't go near that dog.
You know, come to think of it, you never did go near that dog. Whenever we came over, you left the room.
Well, that may have more to do with you.
Admit it. You hated my little precious.
I didn't hate the dog. I was scared of it.
What?
I was in the yard, whistling, happy. And then I heard it. Nice doggy. Nice.
Afraid of that little bitty dog.
You didn't see the rage in her eyes.
Van, you're not afraid of dogs. Mary has a German Shepherd, and you love that dog.
Cheyenne, I'm not afraid of big dogs. I'm afraid of little ones. When I was a little kid, my parents let me watch Cujo on TV, but it was on a 9-inch screen. The dog's so small. If they had just bought me a normal-sized television, I would not be living with this curse. No! Not funny.
Okay, so if it's not me, it's not Brock, it's not Van, and again I say, not me, then who can it be?
All I know is when I was enjoying my time in the treehouse, I saw the dog run into the garage.
Didn't Cheyenne just say she was in the garage?
She did. Cheyenne just said she was in the garage. I'm gonna ask you one time, Cheyenne. Did you do something to my dog?
No.
I'm gonna ask you 2 times,
No.
Cheyenne. 3 times! That's my limit!
No!
Cheyenne, just tell us why you were in the garage.
I told you I was in there to work out with Van as a part of our new healthy lifestyle.
Untrue! After I scampered down the treehouse and ran up to the bedroom and locked the door, I saw your workout clothes on the bed.
And just last week I saw you chasing the dog.
Because she took my cookies. She always took my cookies.
Your cookies? But wait a minute, that would mean that... Oh, my dog.
Okay. I wasn't in the garage to work out. I was there to do a very bad thing. Where are my cookies? You. I warned you before, you little mud. Get your paws off my cookies. That's it, you filthy little mud. What was my cookies? My cookies, little mud.
You ate the cookies off the garage floor? Oh, Cheyenne.
Did the diet make you hungry? Hungry enough to eat a small dog?
Shut up, Kira. Look, Van, I hate this stupid diet. It's not my fault that you think you're gonna get fat because you're not playing football.
Hey, I am sensitive about this issue.
Look, the dog was fine when I left the garage. I finished the cookies, did 600 sit-ups, and came inside.
Well, then there's only one person left. Kira!
All right, I admit it. It was me. And what happened was this. Now, eternal life will be mine.
Very funny, Kira. Although if you had done it, I wouldn't have had to cook dinner.
Well, it doesn't look like it was any of us, Barbara Jean.
Well, you can all make excuses till kingdom come. All I know is that somebody did something to my dog.
Jake? Honey, are you okay?
I think you guys better come outside.
Why? What is it, bud?
It's the dog.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
It's kind of gross.
Oh, God.
Barbara Jean, calm down. Jake, come on, tell us what happened to the dog.
I think he killed a hawk.
Awesome.
Reba, I got your message that you wanted to see me. This is the first time that's ever happened. I got you a card.
I need your help.
That is so wonderful. Oh, I should have got a second card.
Monday morning, I have a job interview with Dolly Majors.
Dolly Majors? The real estate agent whose face is on every bus bench in town? Oh, Reba, she is bigger than that lawyer, Mr. Accidente.
I know, and since you're my only real estate client, I need a letter of recommendation.
Oh, I'd love to. Oh, I already have 3 poems about you that I could use. Reba's hair is red. Violets are blue. If Brock ever left me, I'd marry you.
Actually, I took the liberty and typed something up. All you need to do is sign it.
Okay.
And you can leave off the smiley unicorn if you don't mind.
Heads up!
I'm on it. Go along.
Stop. Jake, get in here.
Yeah, but first, go along.
Give that to me. Jake, how many times do I have to tell you not to throw things in the house? Now get outside and play.
But the sun, it
Yes.
This letter is so cold and impersonal. It sounds like we hardly even know each other.
I know.
You know, this doesn't fully represent what is in my heart, so if you don't mind, I'm gonna give it the Barbara Jean touch.
Had to call her. Had to invite her over. You got rocks in your head, Reba. That's what you got. I'm serious, Barbara Jean. This interview is huge, and I only have 2 days to get ready for it.
Hi, I'm Dolly Majors.
But I thought the interview was Monday.
Rule 1 of real estate, expect the unexpected. I like to schedule an interview one day and then just pop in on another.
I tell Miss Reba you're here.
My roots are planted in the past, though my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I wanna be. A single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never stops, with gentle hands and the heart of a fighter.
okay that I popped in, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's fine. It's just that I'm not dressed and the house is a mess. Couldn't we schedule a time for you to pop in?
Well, then I wouldn't get to see who you are under pressure. And so far, you're as jumpy as a flea on a hot brig.
No, I'm fine. Come in, sit down. I'm sorry the house is so messy. I have kids.
Reba!
She's not one of them.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
If you don't leave now, this will be the moment you'll regret for the rest of your life.
Hi, I'm Barbara Jean.
Dolly Majors.
Oh my gosh. It's like looking in a tiny mirror.
Yeah. Dolly popped in just as you were popping out. Bye-bye now.
Reba, are you kidding? This is perfect. Why write a letter when I can give Dolly my recommendation in person?
Because you're less crazy on paper than you are in person.
Ew. Now, Dolly, Reba sold a condo for us, and I just have to tell you, she is the best real estate agent in the world.
Well, that is good to know.
She's not through talking.
Now, Brock and I wanted to help her out after she lost her job. She didn't actually lose it. She got fired. She called her boss a monkey's butt. She's kind of got a little problem with her temper. You know?
See, I bet you dollars to donuts this would not have come up in my office on Monday.
Cheyenne, quit nagging me about not working. I just got paid $25. That means selling my blood counts as a job.
And who is this ambitious young man?
I'm Ben, and I'm a little dizzy.
Oh my gosh, it's Dolly Majors! This is so weird. Mom has an interview with you on Monday.
It's been rescheduled to right now.
Oh, okay, well, we'll get out of your hair.
Thank you.
Yeah, we don't want to blow this for you, because let's face it, it's a long shot anyway.
You know, we are just so appreciative that you've given her this interview. I mean, who else would give a woman her age with no experience a chance?
Knock 'em dead, Mrs.
Yeah,
H.
good luck.
Oh, sorry about that, doll.
What's that?
That's her daughter, Kira. Yeah, she's fallen prey to the rock and roll lifestyle.
Man, tell Kira to knock it off.
Kira, turn down that devil music!
Sorry about that, Dolly. Well, you wanted to pop in and see the real me, so this is it. It's also the reason if you hire me, I'll never go home.
Rule 2 of real estate, be yourself. Heck, I have an Uncle Floyd that can spit his glass eye in the air and catch it on the second bounce.
Well, Dolly, she should be herself because she is great. She's Reba. She's unbelievable. You know, I only wish she'd been a real estate agent when I bought my house down the street.
Wait, you did not buy that old colonial house with the bad... never mind.
The bad what? Is there something wrong with my house? Oh my God, is it the roof? Is it the plumbing? Oh, toxic mold. Oh my gosh, I've seen that movie. That stuff can come to life. Maybe I should sell my house.
Call me.
Thank you. Oh God, thank you so much. Oh, it's still warm.
If she moves, I'll work for you for free.
Rule 3 of real estate, always look for the sale.
Well, I just happen to be very good at that. I'm a natural-born salesperson.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I've been here 5 minutes, and so far you haven't tried to sell me anything.
I'd sell you my kids, but nothing. I'd sell you my kids.
Sell me your house.
But I kind of used the house to live in.
Well, I know that. It's a test. You want to sell, start selling. My record to make a sale is 30 seconds. Go.
You're kidding, right?
Time's a wasting. The little diamonds catching up to the big diamonds.
Okay. I'm not gonna sell you this house.
No?
No. Anybody can sell you a house. What I'm selling is a place to raise your children, a place where memories are made, a place to grow, to love, to live. No, ma'am, I don't sell houses. My name is Reba Hart, and I sell homes. And if I had a card, I'd pull one out of my breast and give it to you.
Rule 4, get to their hearts, not their brains. You got the job.
Oh.
And you are going to be the prettiest woman in the office.
Oh, second to you.
Hey, we're not comparing apples and melons here.
But I got the job. I got the job right here in my living room in my sweatpants. You know what? We should celebrate. I've been chilling a bottle of champagne just in case something good happens. It's a few years old, but it's still bubbly.
Ain't we all?
Yeah.
Hey, Mom. I was outside playing with sticks like some kind of cave boy. When I saw this on the porch with my name on it.
That's from me. I heard Reba had a boy my grandson's age, so I brought you something.
That is so nice of you, but you shouldn't have.
A weapon! Cool!
Oh, boy. A baby gun for a 10-year-old boy. You really shouldn't have.
I learned to shoot when I was 5. How do you think my Uncle Floyd got that glass eye? I'm just kidding. Kids are so overprotected these days, don't you think?
Can I keep it, Mom? I want to shoot a can off Van's head.
Well, I don't know.
Please?
Reba, one of my greatest joys is giving presents. You are not going to deny your new boss joy, are you?
No, of course not. What I was going to say is I don't know any better way of celebrating than with a glass of champagne and gunfire. Honey, I'm going to keep the BBs, and you take your gun upstairs and memorize all the instructions in English and in Spanish. Dolly, make yourself at home. My house is your house. Just don't sell it, okay?
Mom, Van just came into the garage and told my band to shut up.
Yeah, write a song about it.
Here, honey, I just needed you to stop playing long enough for me to get this job, which I got.
Way to go, Mom!
How'd you do it? Was it pity? It was pity, wasn't it? You are so lucky people pity you.
Hey, guys, go out and keep Dolly company while I get the champagne.
Okay. Mom, seriously, my band has a gig tonight, and you said we could practice here.
Oh, honey, yeah, I did. But in my defense, I'd had wine with dinner. Can't you practice over at your dad's?
Not since Barbara Jean learned the words to our songs. And bought a tambourine.
Well, look, you don't need to practice your music. Just work on your attitude. You know how you hate authority? I gotta tell you, Dolly, getting this job is a dream come true.
Oh, we're excited too.
Look at me. I'm shaking.
Who's ready to celebrate?
We are.
We're buying a house.
You sold Van and Cheyenne a house?
Yeah.
It's another major sell by Dolly. That's her slogan. You wouldn't believe where she keeps these things.
Dolly, how did this happen?
I don't know. Somehow the subject of real estate came up.
Yeah, and then she remembered this house that was perfect for a young couple. Then I said, we're a young couple, and the next thing you know, we're a young couple of homeowners.
But you hadn't even seen it yet.
Oh, we don't need to see it, Mom. The way Dolly described it, it was like we were there.
I just love the entryway.
Oh, me too.
Well, have you given any thought to how you're going to pay for it?
Of course, we're not clueless.
Whatever's left of my football settlement will go to the down payment.
Okay, what about the mortgage and insurance?
Mrs. H. Red gold.
Yeah, but still, a new house is very expensive.
Reba, it's not a house, it's a home. It's a place to grow, to love, to live. And putting young couples in a home of their own is another one of my great joys.
Well, who knew there'd be so much joy here today?
Reba,
Why would you tell Barbara Jean that our house is going to come to life and eat us?
It wasn't Reba. It was her.
Hi, I'm Dolly Majors.
Don't we look like twins separated at birth?
Dolly, this is my ex-husband, Brock.
No, you can't be old enough to have 2 teenage daughters.
Well, I work out. And anyway, about our house.
Oh, speaking of houses, Van and Cheyenne are buying a house of their own. Isn't that great?
Don't stop by without calling first.
Reba, can we see you in the kitchen?
Sure, this is such a happy occasion. We're gonna need more champagne or something stronger.
Seriously, you could be my mini-me.
Reba, why didn't you stop that woman?
Because she's Dolly Majors. She's unstoppable.
Oh, come on, she's only human.
With a smile that could light up Broadway.
She's my new boss. If I run that sale, I could lose the job I haven't even started yet.
Well, we have to do something. We can't let those two buy a house.
Brock, you're the father. Get in there and forbid them from buying that house. Oh, whoa, wait. Be careful. Dolly's smart.
Oh, yeah? And what am I?
Be really careful.
And don't worry about furniture. You just borrow more than the house is worth and then spend the extra money on whatever else you need.
We should borrow $3 million. We'll be rich.
All right, Van, that's enough. Cheyenne, your mother is completely supportive of this deal. But as your father, I'm afraid I'm against it.
You keep saying it, and I can't believe it's true. You are actually her father.
Well, if you're saying nice job on the moisturizing, thank you.
Why don't we talk about this over a glass of champagne? Not that you need any more sparkle in those blue eyes.
Well, I guess one glass couldn't hurt.
Man, I hope Brock can handle this. Sometimes when he gets around chesty blondes, his brain goes on the fritz.
I'm not worried about her. When you got a big gulp at home, you don't go looking to sip from a thimble. You know what I'm saying?
Well, how'd it go?
Great. We're buying a vacation home.
What? Oh my gosh, is it a beach house? Can I sunbathe a la mode?
Brock, how did this happen?
I don't know. Her voice took me to a place where the angels live. With golf course access.
Okay, clearly this situation needs to be handled by the only person here with a lick of sense.
Is someone coming over, Reba?
Me. Now get out of here before she sells you a piece of the moon.
Yeah, come on, Barbara Jean. Let's find a map and figure out where Costa Rica is.
So I can sublease warehouse space and have a place for my band to practice whenever I want.
You betcha. How much is your allowance?
Kara, you silly. You don't need a warehouse, honey. My garage is always open.
But you said...
I said get out there in the garage and rock and roll, dudes.
Hey, it's getting late. We better go sign those offer papers.
Oh, yeah. Boy, this sure does bring back memories. You know, I remember my first new home. Of course, your dad and I had jobs when we were making money, but still there were 100 things that could go wrong. You know, like a leaky roof and the plumbing and ants. Oh, Lordy, those ants.
What about spiders?
Oh, Lordy, those spiders.
I hate spiders.
But you love the entryway.
Yes, I do. Oh, Cheyenne, I'm having conflicting thoughts. You know I only like to have one. What are we gonna do?
Honey, maybe we should just take our time and think about this.
I think she's right. You two should not jump into buying a house.
They shouldn't?
Of course not. They should consult other professionals in their area.
I think that's a good idea.
Like you, Reba.
I think that's a bad idea.
Don't get shy on me now. I consider you a valued employee, even though we haven't signed the papers yet. I'm happy with the sale. Van's happy. But I want to know if you're happy.
You think it's okay, Mom?
Well, I'd have to say.
I memorized El Manuel. Can I have the BBs and a pumpkin?
No.
Can't have a BB gun? Can't wing a frisbee in the house? Were you ever a kid?
And no on the house, too.
What? But Mrs. H, I've already decorated it in my mind. At least let me have the jungle room.
Look, I've been letting everybody do stuff that they shouldn't do just because I didn't want to go up against Dolly. But that stops now.
You know what? She's right. We're way too young to be grown-ups. Come on, let's go play with our baby.
You call that an entryway? So I guess I should just give this back to you. Should I'm just gonna hold it.
You just cost me a sale, Reba.
Well, Dolly, selling is important. So are people. And I don't think I could sell to anyone, especially my kids, if I didn't think it was a good idea, even if it meant I wasn't gonna get the job.
Well, I thought you might feel that way. I knew when I walked in that door you were a person that cared about family. And that's why I was testing you.
You were what?
It was another test. I do that.
You got me again. You were testing to see if I had character and integrity and the backbone to stand up to my boss.
And you've got more backbone than a beer-battered catfish.
Oh. So I got the job. I passed the test.
No, you flunked.
Excuse me?
Reba, you are amazing. I mean, life throws you cow patties and you grow a garden. But hey, this is business. It's a business I started in my garage and built into the biggest real estate empire in Houston. I don't need a good person. I need a shark.
You're right. I'm not a shark. I'm more like one of those cute little fish in Finding Nemo.
I tell you what, I'm going to recommend you to any other agency in town. Maybe a few years might put some rough edges on you, and then you can come talk to me.
Oh, thank you very much. Hey, maybe one of these days I'll sell you a house.
Oh, I just love your sense of humor.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I'm starting to see the resemblance between her and Barbara Jean.
Diane burst into laughter, shaking her head. I did not do that. Van looked genuinely perplexed. Then who did? Down the hall, a younger voice muttered quietly to the shadows. I've been under a lot of stress. I have been under a lot of stress. Chapter 1. The Comforter and the Chaos. The afternoon sun streamed through the bedroom window, casting long, golden rays across the chaotic landscape of cardboard boxes and bulging black trash. Bags. Van stood in the center of the room, holding up a large, slightly crumpled poster with an expression of pure, unadulterated pride. How does this look? Van asked, stepping back to admire his handiwork, like a truck on a wall. Cheyenne sighed, leaning against the doorframe, though a soft, affectionate smile played on her lips. Perfect, she replied, her voice dripping with gentle sarcasm. Man, it feels good to have all my stuff back, Van declared, dropping the poster onto the bed and looking around the room as if he had just conquered a small country. I cannot believe your parents chucked it on the front lawn. Cheyenne walked into the room, stepping delicately over a pile of athletic gear. Yeah, but it was cool of the gardeners to help, though. That guy with the leaf blower really rounded up my socks fast. She looked around at the mounting piles of his belongings. So, where are you going to put the rest of this crap? Van scratched his chin, his eyes darting around the room as if calculating. Complex architectural blueprints. Well, I'm going to put my clothes in. Ugh. He trailed off, pointing vaguely toward the closet. Or maybe. Ugh. He gestured toward a small dresser. Finally, he grinned and dropped a heavy black trash bag right where he stood, or right here on the floor. Just then, Reba walked past the open doorway. She paused, taking in the disaster zone that had once been her daughter's carefully curated sanctuary. I hope one of those trash bags has a maid in it, she remarked. Dryly, leaning against the door jamb, Van beamed at her, completely immune to the sarcasm. Mrs. H, I am. Giving the room a touch of Van. Reba raised an eyebrow. It is not a gentle touch, is it, she asked. Van ignored the jibe, bending down to dig enthusiastically into another oversized trash bag. Do you want to give me a hand here? He asked. Cheyenne, pulling out a massive, heavily padded blanket. What is that? Cheyenne asked, her nose wrinkling slightly. My lucky comforter, Van announced, holding the fabric high like a sacred flag. Wildcat colors, the orange and black tech. Reba squinted at the jarring combination of neon orange and pitch black. More like Halloween vomit, she observed flatly. Van chuckled, oblivious to the aesthetic crime he was committing. Obviously, Cheyenne has not seen this, he said, turning to his wife. Is it not great? She's going to freak. My girls. Reba watched in disbelief as Van pulled out another poster, this one, featuring a group of overly enthusiastic cheerleaders. You are going to hang that in here? She asked, her voice laced with warning. Yeah, to help me get worked up, Van said earnestly. Then, realizing how that sounded, his eyes widened and he scrambled to correct himself. Not like that. For the game. He paused, looking at the poster thoughtfully. But something is missing. Certainly not implants. Oh, I know. He pointed to a specific cheerleader in the center. See, the head cheerleader is cheering me on. Go, Van. She really did. Not say that, but it is sort of like she did. Reba crossed her arms, offering a rare moment of genuine, albeit cynical, advice. You're going to wish you had a bubble over your head when your wife gets here. Van waved off her concern with a confident smile. It is all right, Mrs. H. Cheyenne knew I was bringing my gear. She wants me to feel at home. Reba shook her head slowly, stepping into the hallway. Van listened to me, she said, her voice lowering to a serious register. This is not good. I know my daughter. She was moody before she was pregnant. As Reba walked away, Cheyenne re-entered the room, stopping dead in her tracks as her eyes landed on the orange and black comforter and the cheerleader. Poster, what do you think? Van asked, his face glowing with hope. Cheyenne swallowed hard, her eyes wide. Oh my God, she managed to say. I love it. Liar. A small voice inside her head whispered, but she forced a bright, supportive smile. No, I do, she insisted, taking a tentative step closer. Van grinned, pointing at the wall. What is your favorite part? The headlights on the truck or the ones on the cheerleaders? Cheyenne blinked, struggling to maintain her composure. It is hard to say. I guess it is the way it says. Mr. and Mrs. Van Montgomery live and love here. Van's smile faltered slightly as he looked at the chaotic room. Well, that sucked. Big time. Chapter 2, The Exorcist and the Schedule. Downstairs, the house was quiet for a brief, fleeting moment. Reba was in the kitchen, humming softly to herself to keep her anxiety at bay. The melody was an old, familiar comfort, a reminder of her own resilience. My roots are planted in the past, though my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I want to be, a single mom who works too hard, a daughter who loves her kids and never stops, with gentle hands and the heart of a fighter. I am a survivor. The peaceful moment was shattered the second she opened the refrigerator door. She reached for the milk carton, only to find it completely devoid of liquid. Hello? Reba called out to the empty kitchen, holding the empty carton in the air. Did it ever occur to you that I might need some help? I am not a mind reader. She tossed the carton into the recycling bin and turned around, jumping slightly as Brock walked through the back door, trailing their young son, Jake, behind him. Wait a minute, Reba said, her hands landing on her hips. What are you doing here? I do not know, Brock replied casually, looking around as if he had just wandered in by accident. Your father was supposed to pick you up half an hour ago, Reba said, looking down at Jake. She turned her exasperation back to Brock. Why do I bother making a schedule if nobody is going to stick to it? I do not know, Brock repeated, offering a helpless shrug. Reba sighed, her patience wearing dangerously thin. Who put an empty carton of milk back in the refrigerator? I do not know, Brock said again. He then pointed toward the living room, changing the subject entirely. What is that? What is this contraption? Reba followed his gaze into the living room, where a massive, heavily padded, deeply ugly exercise machine sat right in the middle of her carefully decorated space. It looked like a medieval torture device crossed with a modern armchair. This is the Exorcist, Reba said dryly. This little puffy is great for your abs and butt, Brock noted, patting the padded seat before looking at Reba sheepishly. Sorry, I did not mean to talk about your butt. Why is this in my living room? Reba demanded, her voice rising in pitch. Brock rubbed the back of his neck. Well, there is no room in the garage, and I figured this way everybody can use it. Plus, it is a good airflow, so the sweat smell will not knock you out. And luckily, it is downwind from the fancy eating table. He offered her a bright, hopeful smile. Do not worry. It is totally portable. I can have it moved on a day's notice. Reba stared at him, unblinking. Pretend I told you yesterday. Brock cleared his throat, sensing the danger. Well, it is about time. Your son has been waiting. It upsets him when you are late. Jake suddenly leaped onto the machine, pulling one of the resistance levers with all his might. Yes, level 3, the young boy shouted triumphantly. Brock watched him proudly. He is a man. He hides his emotions. He walked over and inspected the machine more closely. Ooh, the Exorcist. Cool, huh? You know, maybe I'll keep a pair of shorts over here, and we can work out together sometime. It is not staying, in spite of what it could do for but Reba said firmly. Let us go, buddy. Okay, I have made a list for you. 2. Brock groaned, taking the piece of paper she handed him. Oh, you made a list of things I should do with my son? No, I would never do that, Reba replied, her tone dripping with mock sweetness. I made noticing her. You cannot keep this thing in here, Reba stated, pointing directly at the Exorcist machine. Van looked at her, entirely unbothered. It is okay. Cheyenne said it was cool. Tell him. He looked at Cheyenne expectantly. Tell me what? Tell him you do not want this thing in here, Reba urged, nudging her daughter forward. Cheyenne panicked, her eyes darting between her mother and her husband. What? Mom, not now. He's been living out of trash bags for a week. I do. Not mind. Reba crossed her arms, standing her ground. But she does. Van stood up, his goofy smile fading into genuine confusion and hurt. What? You do not like my trash bag system? Cheyenne let out a frustrated sigh, the stress of the day finally breaking her resolve. Look, it is not really a system, Van. It is more like a big, disgusting mess. Van looked genuinely wounded, looking at the lumpy black bags scattered across the floor. Big, disgusting mess? Is that your fancy way of saying you do not like it? Yeah, Cheyenne admitted, her voice trembling with held back tears. Van threw his hands up in the air. I cannot believe this. What is next? You are going to tell me you do not like the cheerleaders? Cheyenne looked at the poster, then back to Van, her frustration boiling over. Oh man, this is a nightmare. It is like I do not even know you. How could you possibly think that I would want to wake up every day and see that in my room? Van stepped back, his broad shoulders slumping. I am sorry, he said quietly, his voice thick with emotion. I thought it was our room. Come on, girls. We are out of here. He reached over, carefully rolled up the cheerleader poster, and walked out of the room, his head hung low. Van, Cheyenne called out weakly, but he was already gone. She turned to Reba, her eyes blazing with sudden, fierce anger. Thanks a lot, Mom. Reba was taken aback, blinking in surprise. Now, Cheyenne, it was going to happen sooner or later. You cannot live like this. Oh, and screaming at each other is so much better? Cheyenne yelled, her hands balled into fists at her sides. Just because you are married, you should not be afraid to say what is on your mind. Reba argued calmly, trying to be the voice of reason. I do not know why you were not honest with him in the first place. Cheyenne's eyes filled with hot, angry tears. Well, maybe because I did not want to drive him away like you drove away Dad. The words hung in the air like a physical blow. Reba took a step back, the color draining from her face. Cheyenne gasped, instantly regretting the outburst, and turned to run down the hallway. Whoa, whoa, get back here, Reba commanded, her voice shaking but firm. Cheyenne stopped, her back still turned. Look, Mom, I am sorry, okay? Just forget about it. No, I am not just going to forget about it, Reba insisted, marching down the hall to face her daughter. Do you actually think I am the reason your father left? Cheyenne turned around, crossing her arms defensively. Well, is it not obvious? You pretty much control everything that happens around here. I would rather not take credit for this. Reba stared at her, deeply hurt but trying to maintain her composure. You know what? If something is not exactly the way that you think it should be, you just have to say something. Why cannot you just leave things alone? Cheyenne cried out, tears spilling down her cheeks. I mean, do you really think Dad would care what kind of comforter is on the bed? Reba's expression hardened, a bittersweet sorrow settling into her eyes. No, it is obvious your father is not picky about what is on his bed. Chapter 5, The Therapy of Doing Nothing. The soft, ambient lighting of the therapist's office was a stark contrast to the chaotic, brightly lit battlefield of the Montgomery household. Reba sat on the edge of a comfortable plush sofa, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, her knuckles white. Oh, Reba, you are late, the therapist noted gently from his armchair across the room. I am sorry, Reba said, letting out a long, exhausted breath. I got here as soon as I could. The therapist looked toward the closed door. Is the rest of the family coming in for therapy? No, Reba replied firmly. I figured it is easier to fix them when they are not here getting in the way. The therapist offered a warm, knowing smile. So, what is the big emergency? Reba threw her hands in the air, the floodgates finally opening. Where do I start? My 7-year-old son spent yesterday at the gynecologist. My daughter blames me for everything wrong in her life, and nobody bothers to put milk on the list. The therapist picked up his notepad, clicking his pen softly. Why do not we start with the thing that is bothering you the most? Reba did not even hesitate. The milk. The therapist murmured, jotting something down. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. You know, Reba, sometimes when life becomes chaotic, we tend to focus on controlling the smaller issues to avoid the bigger issues. Reba shifted uncomfortably on the sofa, feeling deeply seen and highly defensive. You know, this is not the first time I have been accused of this controlling thing, and frankly, I would like to put a stop to it. I see, the therapist prompted gently. Reba's voice trembled with pent-up frustration and sorrow. I was the one that stuck by her. He was not even going to come to her wedding, which I planned myself. And do not get me started on that exorcist in her bedroom. No matter what I do, I get the blame. I should just let them fend for themselves for a change. She looked at the therapist, expecting him to argue, to tell her that her family needed her guidance. Instead, he just watched her calmly. They would fall flat on their face in 5 minutes, Reba added, trying to convince herself. The therapist nodded slowly. Or they would learn to take care of themselves. Fat chance, Reba scoffed, crossing her arms. Well, you never know until you give it a shot, the therapist suggested mildly. Reba stared at him, bewildered by the simplicity of the suggestion. So, what do I do? Nothing. Reba blinked. Say again. Look, I know it is a scary concept, but try it, the therapist encouraged softly. You are losing me, Reba admitted, shaking her head. The idea of not managing her chaotic household was entirely foreign to her. Take some time for yourself, he instructed, his tone soothing. But firm. Get a massage, go to a movie, take up a hobby. Reba stared at him for a long, quiet moment, contemplating the immense difficulty of simply walking away from the mess. Finally, she sighed heavily. Could not you just write me a prescription instead? Chapter 6. The Abandonment and the Pizza. The kitchen was eerily quiet when Cheyenne wandered downstairs later that evening. The sun had set, casting long shadows across the floor. She found Jake, sitting at the island, staring forlornly at an empty plate. So, what did Mom say exactly? Cheyenne asked, her stomach rumbling loudly. Jake looked up, his expression grim. She said, feed your brother and sister. I'm going to the movies. Cheyenne's jaw dropped. She has lost it. What are we going to eat? I do not know, Jake replied, kicking his legs against the counter. There is like nothing in here. The front door opened, and Van walked into the kitchen, looking exhausted, and carrying his heavy gym bag. He stopped, sensing the tension in the room. What is going on? Cheyenne looked at him, her defenses still up. So, you are talking to me now? Only because I am hungry, Van muttered, setting his bag down. We are in a crisis, so go away, Cheyenne snapped, crossing her arms. From front, stepping closer. What is the crisis? Mom bolted, so we have to make dinner for ourselves, Cheyenne explained, the panic rising in her voice. No way. What are we going to eat? Van asked, his eyes widening in horror as he opened the empty refrigerator. You eat the most. Why do not you make something? Cheyenne demanded. Van closed the fridge and looked at her seriously. I can make chili. You got a can of chili? Cheyenne stared at him in disbelief. We are all going to die. Do I have to do everything myself? Before the argument could escalate any further, the front door swung open. With a grand flourish, Brock stepped inside, holding 2 massive, steaming, flat cardboard boxes. Daddy, Jake gasped, his eye go, Reba said, walking into the living room and sitting in her favorite armchair. It is nice out here. So, how was the movie? Reba smiled, kicking off her shoes. Good. Did you know the last time I went to see a movie in a theater was before Jake was born? Cheyenne looked guilty. I do not know. So how did you guys make out tonight? Reba asked casually, testing the waters. Okay, Cheyenne nodded. Dad brought pizza. We also talked. That is nice. Cheyenne took a deep breath and walked over, sitting on the edge of the coffee table facing her mother. Mom, you made me realize that I was wrong about a lot of things. I am so sorry about the horrible thing that I said to you earlier today. You have every right to kill me if you want to. Reba felt the heavy weight in her chest finally dissolve. She reached out and took her daughter's hands. Wow, there really is something to this doing nothing strategy. Cheyenne tilted her head. What does that mean? Well, I had a little talk with someone today myself, Reba admitted. Of course, my talk cost me $80. What did you learn? That you and Van are legally married now, Reba said softly, brushing a stray hair from Cheyenne's face. And that I have to step back and let you make your own mistakes. That is exactly how you're going to learn how to be a wife, and soon, a mother. So, no more interfering? Cheyenne asked, a hopeful smile. Breaking through. Sometimes, Reba promised, the absolute best thing I can do for the two of you is nothing at all. Cheyenne leaned forward and hugged her tightly. I love you, Mom. As they pulled apart, Cheyenne's practical side took over. But you are still going to do our laundry, right? Reba just laughed, shaking her head. Upstairs, the bedroom door was open. Van and Cheyenne stood in front of the open closet. On the inside of the heavy wooden door, the cheerleader poster was securely taped. So, Cheyenne explained gently, when you want to look at it, to get pumped up for the game, just open the door. And the rest of the time, keep it shut. Van stared at the poster, then smiled warmly at his wife. That is going to work great. We really have an awesome marriage. I know, Cheyenne smiled back, wrapping her arms around his waist. You know you can tell me anything, right? Okay. Okay, Van said, his expression suddenly turning very serious. Looked around the room as if checking for spies. Well, I kind of was not going to say anything to you about it, but I kind of wish you would not put that potpourri stuff in my underwear drawer. Cheyenne frowned in confusion. I did not do that. Van's eyes widened in sheer horror. Then who did? I went through a whole football practice today with a sharp acorn in my jockstrap. I have been under a lot of stress today. I have been under a lot of stress. Down the hall, the faint sound of a 7-year-old boy giggling echoed through the house. The Montgomery household was far from perfect, but for tonight at least they were surviving. The late afternoon sun cast a warm, golden glow through the window of the suburban bedroom, illuminating the chaotic sea of open boxes and overflowing trash bags that currently served as Van Montgomery's luggage. It had been a turbulent week, following a harsh disagreement with his parents that resulted in his belongings being unceremoniously dumped on their front lawn. Van was finally moving his life into the home of his wife, Cheyenne, and her mother, Reba. Van held up a large, framed poster of a monster truck, adjusting it against the floral wallpaper of Cheyenne's bedroom. He stepped back, a wide, boyish grin spreading across his face, and looked at his young wife. How does this look? Van asked, his eyes shining with genuine excitement. Cheyenne, sitting on the edge of the bed with her hands resting gently on her slightly pregnant belly, tilted her head and offered a supportive but strained smile, like a truck on a wall. Perfect, Van exclaimed, completely missing the mild hesitation in her voice. He carefully leaned the frame against the wall and let out a deep sigh of relief. Man, it feels good to have all my stuff back. I cannot believe your parents chucked it on the front lawn. Cheyenne nodded sympathetically, her heart aching for the rejection her husband had faced, even as she surveyed the mounting pile of his sporting equipment and questionable decor. Yeah, but it was cool of the gardeners to help, though. That guy with the leaf blower really rounded up my socks. Fust. Van chuckled, the memory of the flying laundry bringing a light-hearted ease to the room. He began digging through another oversized black plastic bag. So, where are you going to put the rest of this crap? Cheyenne asked, trying to keep her tone light and breezy. Van looked around the room, scratching his head. The space was already dominated by Cheyenne's delicate furniture and soft pastel colors. Well, I'm going to put my clothes in the... He paused, his eyes darting from a crowded dresser to a completely full closet. Or maybe the... He looked down at the carpet, or right here, on the floor. Just then, Reba appeared in the doorway. She was a woman who carried the weight of the world on her shoulders, but managed to do it with a sharp wit and an unwavering love for her family. She leaned against the doorframe, taking in the explosion of athletic gear and wrinkled clothing that had taken over her daughter's carefully curated sanctuary. I hope one of those trash bags has a maid in it, Reba observed. Riley. Van looked up, holding a tangled knot of shirts. Mrs. H., I am giving the room a touch of Van. Reba raised an eyebrow, stepping carefully over a stray football cleat. It is not a gentle touch, is it? Do you want to give me a hand here? Van asked enthusiastically, reaching deep into the largest trash bag. He pulled out a massive, heavily padded blanket bursting with violently bright colors. What is that? Reba asked, taking a step back, as if the fabric itself might attack her. My lucky comforter, Van declared proudly, holding it up like a prized banner. Wildcat colors, the orange and black tech. Reba squinted at the jarring combination of neon orange and pitch black. More like Halloween vomit. Van laughed, completely immune to the sarcasm, assuming Reba was simply playfully teasing him. Obviously, Cheyenne has not seen this. Is it not? Great. She's going to freak. He tossed the heavy comforter onto the bed. Cheyenne stared at her, supportive smile freezing in place. The garish colors clashed disastrously with her soft pink pillows. My girls, Van muttered happily to himself as he dove back into the pig. You are going to hang that in here? Cheyenne asked, her voice tight, pointing toward a large, rolled-up poster he was unfurling. Yeah, to help me get worked up, Van said earnestly. Cheyenne's eyes widened, a blush creeping up her neck. Not like that. For the game. He held up the poster. It featured several cheerleaders in very small, very tight outfits, mid-jump, with bright, enthusiastic smiles. Reba crossed her arms. But something is missing. Certainly not. Implants. Oh, I know, Van said, his face lighting up with a sudden burst of inspiration. He pointed to the central figure on the glossy paper. See, the head cheerleader is cheering me on. Go, Van. She really did not say that, but it is sort of like she did. Reba looked from the poster to Van, and then to Cheyenne, whose face was a mask of suppressed horror. You're going to wish you had a bubble over your head when your wife gets here, Reba muttered to Van. It is all right, Mrs. H., Van said, oblivious to the rising tension. Cheyenne knew I was bringing my gear. She wants me to feel at home. He turned to a wooden plaque he had unpacked earlier and held it up. With a tender, loving expression, Reba turned to Cheyenne, lowering her voice. Van, listen to me. This is not good. I know my daughter. She was moody before she was pregnant. Cheyenne forced a wide, unblinking smile and looked directly at Van. What do you think? Van asked, holding up the poster of the cheerleaders again. Oh my God. I love it, Cheyenne lied, the words tasting like ash in her mouth. Liar. Reba coughed gently under her breath. No, e do Shane insisted, nodding rapidly. What is your favorite part? Van asked, beaming with pride. The headlights on the truck or the ones on the cheerleaders? Cheyenne swallowed hard, desperately searching for a safe answer. It is hard to say. I guess it is the way it says. She looked down at the humming. Reba noted softly. When I was pregnant, your father would not get within 50 feet of a gynecologist's office. Chapter 3. The Breaking Point. Later that afternoon, the front door opened, and Reba walked into the living room, stopping short at the bizarre scene unfolding before her. Brock had returned with Jake, but instead of carrying a baseball glove or a museum brochure, Jake was happily playing with a brightly colored anatomical model of a female reproductive system. Oh, hey, Rudy. Brock greeted her cheerfully, completely missing the look of absolute horror spreading across Reba's face. Mom, what? Guess what I just saw? I got a picture of it, Jake yelled, running over and waving a printed ultrasound image in the air. Reba looked from the ultrasound picture to the anatomical model, and finally, to her ex-husband. Oh, the baby. Why is he here? Why are you here? Oh, Dr. Schmidt and I are doing this trade thing, Brock explained casually, leaning against the kitchen counter. He is taking care of the baby, and I am giving his wife a root canal. I am coming out way ahead on the deal. Reba felt her blood pressure skyrocket. Hey, Reba, Brock continued, completely oblivious. Dr. Schmidt is terrific. What is wrong with you? Reba exploded, throwing her hands in the air. This is supposed to be father-son time, not father-son mistress gynecologist time. Brock stood up straight, his relaxed demeanor instantly transforming into defensiveness. Oh, come on. The kid had a blast. Besides, you are always after me to do stuff with him that is educational. Reba turned her attention to her youngest child. Jake, put that down. The uterus is not a toy. Jake reluctantly set the plastic model down on the coffee table. Reba turned, her furious gaze back to Brock. This is why I give you lists. Yeah, well, the gynecologist's office was not on the not-to-do list. Brock shot back, crossing his arms. You do not see strip club on the list either, but I can write it down. If there are any questions, Reba countered, her voice dangerously low. Oh boy, here we go again. Brock sighed heavily, rolling his eyes. Because you never change. Can you please talk about this later? Cheyenne suddenly appeared at the top of the stairs, looking pale and deeply stressed by the shouting. Let's everybody take a deep breath and visualize the beach. Reba looked up at her daughter, then glared back at Brock. You want to know what I am visualizing? All right, we are leaving, Brock said quickly, sensing the impending explosion. He grabbed Jake's jacket. Let's go. Jake. Where are we going? Jake asked, looking confused. Well, son, I do not know, Brock said, rushing toward the door. But we certainly will not be getting our new shoes wet. As the door slammed shut behind them, Van jogged through the kitchen door, sweaty from a workout. Hey, coach, how's it going? He called out to Brock's retreating back. He turned to Cheyenne, smiling brightly. Hey, babe, I am sorry I am late. I hope you are not mad. Cheyenne plastered that same, terrifyingly fake smile back onto her face. Of course I am not mad. You are my husband, and I love you. Van beamed, kissing her cheek. I could not decide what to wear. I have never been examined by a gynecologist before. He bounded past Reba. Montgomery, wish me luck. Thank you, Reba muttered, completely exhausted. The phone rang, slicing through the heavy silence of the room. Reba snatched it off the receiver. Hello. Where is Ross? It was Brock on the line. Well, he seemed a little tense, so I dropped him off at the driving range after dinner. Reba gripped the phone tightly. Dinner? I had a banana split, Snickers, and a nice mocha. She listened for a moment. Can I stay up all night? Please thank Brock for bringing him home late and all jacked up on sugar. Brock's voice chattered on the other end, making excuses. Reba cut him off. I know what is really bothering you, and I just want to assure you that Jake was out of the room with Brock while I was being looked at by the down there doctor. I will call later. She slammed the phone down. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. She looked up the stairs, where Cheyenne and Van had retreated to their room. Reba marched up the steps, determined to fix at least one problem in her house today. She opened the bedroom door to find Van happily doing push-ups on the floor while Cheyenne sat quietly on the bed, surrounded by neon orange. Cheyenne, I thought you were going to tell him to get that machine out of your room, Reba demanded. Cheyenne jumped, looking incredibly guilty. But then I realized. It does not really bother me. Van needs his space, and I did not want to make a big deal about it, Mom. Well, I do, Reba stated flatly. Mom, stop, Cheyenne hissed, her eyes darting to Van. Van continued his push-ups, completely oblivious to the silent warfare happening above him. Go, Van. Come on. Yeah, come on. Go, Van. Go. Reba stepped further into the room, standing directly over him. Hey, Monsieur Ash, you cannot keep this thing in here. Van paused mid-push-up, looking up at Reba. It is okay, Cheyenne said. It was cool. Tell him. Van looked at Cheyenne, confused. Tell me what? Tell him you do not want this thing in here, Reba urged her. Daughter. What? Mom, not now, Cheyenne pleaded. He has been living out of trash bags for a week. I do not mind. But she does, Reba insisted. Van stood up, wiping sweat from his forehead. He looked at Cheyenne, his face falling into genuine hurt. What? You do not like my trash bag system? Look, it is not really a system, Van, Cheyenne finally admitted, her voice trembling slightly. It is more like a big, disgusting mess. Big, disgusting mess? Van repeated, his pride deeply wounded. Is that your fancy way of saying you do not like it? Yeah, Cheyenne whispered. Van threw his towel onto the floor. I cannot believe this. What is next? You are going to tell me you do not like the cheerleaders? Cheyenne took a deep breath, the truth finally bursting out of her. Oh man, this is a nightmare. It is like I do not even know you. How could you possibly think that I would want to wake up every day and see that in my room? Van looked devastated. I am sorry. I thought it was our room. He grabbed his jacket and stormed past Reba. Come on, girls. We are out of here. Van, Cheyenne called out weakly, but he was already gone. Cheyenne turned her furious gaze onto Reba. Thanks a lot, Mom. Reba held her ground. Now, Cheyenne, it was going to happen sooner or later. You cannot live like this. Oh, and screaming at each other is so much better? Cheyenne yelled, tears welling in her eyes. Just because you are married, you should not be afraid to say what is on your mind. Reba argued passionately. I do not know why you were not honest with him in the first place. Well, maybe because I did not want to drive him away like you drove. Away, Dad! Cheyenne screamed, the words echoing loudly in the cramped room. Reba froze, the accusation hitting her like a physical blow to the chest. The air left her lungs. She stared at her daughter, watching the immediate regret flash across Cheyenne's tear-streaked face. Whoa, whoa, get back here, Reba commanded, her voice terrifyingly calm. Look, Mom, I am sorry, okay? Just forget about it, Cheyenne cried, backing away. No, I am not just going to forget about it, Reba said, stepping closer. Do you actually think I am the reason your father left? Well, isn't it obvious? Cheyenne cried out, too upset to stop herself now. You pretty much control everything that happens around here. Reba felt a cold knot form in her stomach. I would rather not take credit for this. You know what? Cheyenne continued, her voice breaking. If something is not exactly the way that you think it should be, you just have to say something. Why cannot you just leave things alone? I mean, do you really think Dad would care what kind of comforter is on the bed? Reba looked at the awful orange and black fabric, then back at her heartbroken daughter. Her own heart ached with a profound, quiet grief. No, Reba said softly, her voice barely a whisper. It is obvious your father is not picky about what is on his bed. Without another word, Reba turned and walked out of the room, the silence in the hallway feeling heavier than it ever had before. Chapter 4. The Art of Doing Nothing. The plush leather chair in the therapist's office was comfortable, but Reba sat rigidly on the edge of it, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. The warm, ambient lighting of the room did little to soothe the raging storm in her mind. Oh, Reba, you are late, the therapist noted gently, adjusting his notepad. I am sorry. I got here as soon as I could, Reba replied, breathless and agitated. Is the rest of the family coming in for therapy? The doctor asked, looking toward the closed door. Reba let out a sharp, humorless laugh. No, I figured it is easier to fix them when they're not here getting in the way. The therapist offered a mild, knowing smile. So, what is the big emergency? Reba threw her hands in the air, the dam finally breaking. Where do I start? My 7-year-old son spent yesterday at the gynecologist. My daughter blames me for everything wrong in her life, and nobody bothers to put milk on the list. The therapist calmly tapped his pen. Why do we not start with the thing that is bothering you the most? The milk, Reba answered instantly. The therapist murmured, leaning forward. You know, Reba, sometimes when life becomes chaotic, we tend to focus on controlling the smaller issues to avoid the bigger issues. Reba crossed her arms defensively, feeling cornered. You know, this is not the first time I have been accused of this controlling thing. And frankly, I would like to put a stop to it. I see. I was the one that stuck by her. He was not even going to come to her wedding, which I planned myself. She stood up, pacing the small room, the frustration pouring out of her in an unstoppable torrent. And do not get me started on that exorcist in her bedroom. No matter what I do, I get the blame. I should just let them fend for themselves for a change. They would fall flat on their face in 5 minutes. Or they would learn to take care of themselves, the therapist suggested mildly. Reba scoffed, rolling her eyes. Fat chance. Well, you never know until you give it a shot, the therapist countered gently. Reba stopped pacing and looked at him, completely lost. So what do I? Nothing. Reba stared at him as if he had just suggested she fly to the moon. Say again. Look, I know it is a scary concept, but try it, the therapist urged, his voice calm and reassuring. You are losing me, Reba admitted, shaking her head. Take some time for yourself, he instructed. Get a massage. Go to a movie. Take up a hobby. Reba sighed heavily, dropping back into the leather chair. She looked at the ceiling, wishing for an easy fix. Could you not just write me a prescription instead? Back at the Montgomery Hart household, chaos was slowly beginning to take root. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the living room. Cheyenne and Van were sitting on opposite ends of the sofa, wrapped in a thick, miserable silence. Jake was sitting on the floor, rubbing his stomach. So, what did Mom say exactly? Cheyenne asked, breaking the silence, looking at her younger sister who had just walked into the room. She said, Feed your brother and sister, I'm going to the movies, the sister replied, looking completely bewildered. She has lost it, Cheyenne declared, panic rising in her chest. What are we going to eat? Jake whined loudly. I do not know, Cheyenne snapped, walking into the kitchen and opening the refrigerator. She stared into the barren expanse. There is, like, nothing in here. Van remained on the couch, staring fiercely at the television screen, which was not even turned on. What is going on? Cheyenne asked, walking back into the living room and glaring at her husband. So you are talking to me now? Only because I am hungry, Van muttered stubbornly. Cheyenne crossed her arms. We are in a crisis, so go away. What is the crisis? Van asked, finally looking at her. Mom bolted, so we have to make dinner for ourselves, Cheyenne explained, her voice pitching upward in panic. Van's eyes widened in genuine terror. No way. What are we going to eat? You eat the most. Why do you not make something? Cheyenne fired back. Van thought for a moment, his brow furrowing in deep concentration. I can make chili. You got a can of chili? Cheyenne asked, a glimmer of hope in her voice. Van shook his head solemnly. We are all going to die. Cheyenne groaned, running her hands through her hair. Do I have to do everything myself? Just as desperation was about to entirely consume the household, the front doorbell rang. Jake sprang up from the floor. Daddy. He ran to the door and yanked it open to reveal Brock, holding 2 large, steaming pizza boxes. Pizza man, Brock announced with a grin. Yay! Jake cheered, practically tackling his father. Daddy, I was this close to rolling Jake in a tortilla. Brock laughed, carrying the holy grail of dinner into the kitchen. Thanks, Coach. He opened the boxes, and the rich, savory smell of cheese and tomato sauce filled the air. Van reached eagerly for a massive slice covered in toppings. Onions. Cheyenne slapped his hand away. If you have any interest in kissing me tonight, you will not eat those. Van quickly dropped the slice and grabbed a plain cheese one instead. Onions, he whispered sadly to himself. Brock leaned against the counter, watching the young couple bicker. What is up with you two? Cheyenne slumped into a kitchen chair, the weight of the day finally crushing her spirit. We are having our first married fight. It is awful. Brock softened, looking at his daughter with deep empathy. Oh, honey, it is bound to happen sooner or later. Yeah, that is what Mom said, Cheyenne mumbled, picking at her. Pizza crust. Brock nodded knowingly. Well, she should know. We had 1,000 of those little fights, and then of course the one big one. Cheyenne looked up, her anger at Reba reigniting. Well, the whole thing is her fault anyway. I mean, I do not know how you live with her. She is such a control freak. Well, tell me about it, Van chimed in, eager to align himself with anyone who was not currently mad at him. I got lists up the wazoo. Yeah, she is constantly interfering, telling people what to do. Cheyenne continued, gaining momentum. Or what not to do, Van added, nodding vigorously. You know, it is no wonder she drove you away, Dad, Cheyenne said, looking at Brock for validation. Brock's expression instantly changed. The easygoing smile vanished, replaced by a serious, contemplative look. He held up a hand to stop them. Say, listen, could you guys take your pizza and eat it in the living room? Cheyenne looked confused. Mom does not let us eat in the living room. Well, she is not here, Brock pointed out. No. Wait a second. Brock corrected himself quickly, realizing he should not actively encourage rebellion in Reba's house. If that is the rule, then use napkins, and give yourself a timeout after you have finished. He pulled out a chair and sat down across from Cheyenne, looking her directly in the eyes. Cheyenne, honey, you got it all wrong. Your mama did not drive me away. Cheyenne scoffed softly. Dad, it is me. You do not have to defend her. Sweetheart, I am not the easiest guy to get along with, Brock admitted, his voice remarkably tender and honest. You know, the fact that your mama has always wanted to stay with me as long as she did shows just how amazing she really is. Cheyenne stared at her father, completely taken aback. Why, I cannot believe you said that. Look, I know she can be tough sometimes, Brock continued softly, but I have always admired the way she speaks her mind. Then what happened with you guys? Cheyenne asked, her voice small and vulnerable. Brock sighed, staring down at the table. Well, we had some little problems, and little problems become big problems when you do not communicate, and that is not exactly my strong point. Cheyenne felt a heavy weight settle in her chest. She remembered Reba's words from earlier that afternoon. Okay, that is what Mom said. Oh yeah, like she is perfect. Brock chuckled softly, breaking the tension. Chapter 5. Communication and Compromise. The porch light flicked on, cutting through the dark Texas night. Reba walked up the front steps, feeling lighter than she had in months. She had actually gone to the movies. She had bought her own popcorn, sat in the dark, and for 2 beautiful hours, she had worried about absolutely nothing. She opened the front door and stepped inside. The house was quiet, but it was a peaceful quiet. She walked into the living room and saw Cheyenne sitting on the sofa, waiting for her. So, when did you get home? Cheyenne asked, standing up quickly. A little while ago, Reba said, setting her purse down. It is nice out here. So how was the movie? Good. Reba smiled gently. Did you know the last time I went to see a movie was before Jake was born? Cheyenne looked heartbroken at that realization. I do not know. So how did you guys make out tonight? Reba asked, walking toward the kitchen. Okay, Dad brought pizza, Cheyenne admitted. She followed Reba into the kitchen, taking a deep, nervous breath. We also talked. That is nice, Reba said softly, turning to face her daughter. Mom, you made me realize that I was wrong about a lot of things, Cheyenne said, tears rapidly welling in her eyes. I am so sorry about the horrible thing that I said to you. You have every right to kill me if you want to. Reba looked at her daughter, overwhelmed with a profound sense of love and relief. The anger was entirely gone, replaced only by a deep, maternal warmth. Wow, Reba smiled gently. There really is something to this. Doing nothing. Cheyenne sniffled, wiping a tear from her cheek. What does that mean? Well, I had a little talk with someone today myself, Reba explained, leaning against the counter. Of course, my talk cost me $80. Cheyenne offered a wobbly smile. What did you learn? That you and Van are married now, and that I have to let you make your own mistakes, Reba said gently, reaching out to tuck a stray lock of hair behind Cheyenne's ear. That is how you are going to learn. So no more interfering? Cheyenne asked hopefully. Sometimes the best thing I can do for the two of you is nothing at all, Reba promised. Cheyenne wrapped her arms around her mother, burying her face in Reba's shoulder. I love you, Mom. Reba held her tight, closing her eyes and savoring the moment. I love you too, sweetie. Cheyenne pulled back slightly, a mischievous glint returning to her eyes. But you are still going to do laundry, right? Reba laughed aloud, the sound echoing happily through the kitchen. Upstairs, Van was meticulously rolling up the giant cheerleader poster. The room had been slightly rearranged. His bags were mostly unpacked, and the orange and black comforter was neatly folded at the foot of the bed, no longer dominating the room. Cheyenne walked in, catching him in the act. What are you doing? Van turned around, holding the poster. I am putting this on the inside of the closet door. He opened the closet and taped the glossy paper to the interior wood. He turned back to Cheyenne with a proud, loving smile. So, when you want to look at it, just open the door and the rest of the time, keep it shut, Van explained. Cheyenne smiled, genuinely touched by the gesture. It was a small compromise, but it meant the world to her. That is going to work. Great. She walked over and wrapped her arms around his waist. We have an awesome marriage. I know, Van agreed, holding her close. He hesitated for a moment, his face growing serious. You can tell me, okay? Okay, Cheyenne replied, looking up at him curiously. Well, I kind of was not going to say anything, but I kind of wish you would not put that potpourri stuff in my underwear, Van admitted, a pained look crossing his face. I went through a whole practice with an acorn in my jockstrap. Cheyenne burst into laughter, shaking her head. I did not do that. Van looked genuinely bewildered. Then who did? Down the hall, the sound of a 7-year-old boy giggling echoed softly. Van sighed heavily, resting his chin on top of Cheyenne's head. I have been under a lot of stress, he muttered defensively to the ceiling. I've been under a lot of stress. The afternoon sun filtered through the bedroom window, casting a warm, golden glow over a scene of absolute, unmitigated chaos. Black plastic trash bags, bulging with an assortment of athletic gear, casual wear, and indeterminate teenage possessions, were scattered across the floor like a small mountain range of crinkling plastic. Van stepped back, wiping a bead of sweat from his forehead. He held up a large, slightly crumpled poster. He looked at it with the pride of an artist, unveiling a masterpiece. How does this look? Van asked, his voice brimming with earnest enthusiasm, like a truck on a wall. Cheyenne stood near the doorway, her hands resting gently on her pregnant belly. She forced a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes, trying to muster the supportive wife persona she had been practicing. Perfect, Van exclaimed, not noticing her hesitation. He tossed an empty bag aside and let out a deep sigh of relief. Man, it feels good to have all my stuff back. I cannot believe your parents chucked it on the front lawn. Cheyenne walked over, carefully navigating the minefield of black plastic. Yeah, but it was cool of the gardeners to help, though. That guy with the leaf blower really rounded up my socks fast. She looked around the room, which had once been her carefully curated sanctuary of pastel colors and floral patterns, now slowly being overtaken by the essence of a high school football player. So, where are you going to put the rest of this crap? Van scratched his head, looking at the remaining bags. Well, I am going to put my clothes in the... He pointed toward the closet, then hesitated, Or maybe He gestured toward a dresser. Finally, he just shrugged, dropping a pile of denim right where he stood. Or right here, on the floor. I hope one of those trash bags has a maid in it. A dry southern drawl cut through the room. Reba stood in the doorway, her arms crossed over her chest. She surveyed the disaster zone that was her daughter's bedroom, her eyebrows raised in a mixture of amusement and despair. Mrs. H. Van greeted her with a bright, entirely unashamed smile. I am giving the room a touch of Van. Reba sighed, stepping over a stray football cleat. It is not a gentle touch, is it? Van chuckled, oblivious to the sarcasm. He reached into one of the largest bags. Do you want to give me a hand here? Reba grabbed the other end of the bulky fabric he was pulling out. What is that? My lucky comforter, Van declared proudly, giving it a shake. The fabric unfurled, revealing a chaotic pattern of bright, aggressive colors. Wildcat colors, Van beamed. The orange and black. Tech. Reba stared at the blanket, her eyes widening slightly at the sheer visual. Assault. More like Halloween vomit. Obviously Cheyenne has not seen this, Van said, ignoring the critique. Is it not great? She is going to freak. Reba looked at the comforter, then at Van, and finally noticed the poster he had previously been holding. It featured 3 heavily made-up cheerleaders in mid-routine. My girls, Van said affectionately, pointing at the poster. You're going to hang that in here? Reba asked, her tone flat. Yeah, to help me get worked up, Van explained. Reba shot him a horrified look. Van quickly waved his hands. Not like that. For the game. Reba walked closer to the poster, inspecting it with a critical eye. But something is missing. Certainly not implants. Oh, I know. She pointed to the cheerleader in the center. See, the head cheerleader is cheering me on. Go, Van. She really did not say that, but it is sort of like she did. She turned to Van, shaking her head. You are going to wish you had a bubble over your head when your wife gets here. It is all right, Mrs. H., Van assured her, folding his arms. Confidently, Cheyenne knew I was bringing my gear. She wants me to feel at home. Reba placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. Van, listen to me. This is not good. I know my daughter. She was moody before she was pregnant. Just then, Cheyenne walked back into the room, holding a glass of water. She stopped dead in her tracks, her eyes locking onto the bright orange and black monstrosity now covering her bed. Van grinned from ear to ear. What do you think? Cheyenne's jaw tightened, but she quickly forced it into a wide, unnatural smile. Oh, my God. I love it. Reba coughed softly. Liar. No, I do, Cheyenne insisted, her voice pitching up a full octave. What is your favorite part? Reba challenged, leaning against her. For ourselves, Kyra explained, waving a hand toward the empty kitchen. Cheyenne's eyes widened in horror. No way. What are we going to eat? You eat the most. Why do not you make something? Kyra suggested. I can make chili, Jake offered quietly. You got a can of chili? Kyra asked hopefully. We are all going to die, Cheyenne announced dramatically, leaning against the counter. Do I have to do everything myself? Suddenly, the front door rattled, and a familiar voice called out. Daddy. Brock walked into the kitchen, holding 2 massive, flat cardboard boxes. Pizza Man. Yay! Jake cheered, jumping out of his seat. Daddy, I was this close to rolling Jake in a tortilla. Thanks, Coach, Van said, trailing in behind Brock, looking equally depressed. Brock opened the boxes, releasing the glorious scent of melted cheese and baked dough. Onions. Cheyenne glared at Van. If you have any interest in kissing me tonight, you will not eat those. Van sighed, picking up a plain slice. Onions. Brock looked between the young couple. What is up with you two? We are having our first married fight, Cheyenne said miserably. It is awful. Oh, honey, it is bound to happen sooner or later, Brock said, kindly, taking a bite of pizza. Yeah, that is what Mom said, Cheyenne muttered. Well, she should know, Brock nodded. We had 1,000 of those little fights, and then of course the one big one. Cheyenne let out a bitter laugh. Well, the whole thing is her fault. Anyway, I do not know how you live with her. She is such a control freak. Well, tell me about it, Van agreed, chewing slowly. I got lists up the wazoo, Brock agreed, gesturing broadly. Yeah, she is constantly interfering, telling people what to do. Cheyenne continued, gaining momentum. Or what not to do. You know it is. No wonder she drove you away, Dad. Brock stopped chewing. He lowered his pizza, looking at his daughter with a sudden, serious expression. Say, listen, could you guys take your pizza and eat it in the living room? Mom does not let us eat in the living room. Jake pointed out, a stickler for the rules. Well, she is not here, Brock said. No, wait a second. If that is the rule, then use napkins and give yourself a timeout after you have finished. Once the kids had scattered, Brock turned his full attention to Cheyenne. Cheyenne, honey, you got it all wrong. Your mama did not drive me away. Cheyenne looked confused. Dad, it is me. You do not have to defend her. Sweetheart, I am not the easiest guy to get along with, Brock said, his voice surprisingly gentle and reflective. You know, the fact that your mama has always wanted to stay with me as long as she did shows just how amazing she really is. Cheyenne stared at him, her defensive posture crumbling. Why, I cannot believe you said that. Look, I know she can be tough sometimes, Brock continued, leaning against the counter, but I have always admired the way she speaks. Her mind. Then what happened with you guys? Cheyenne asked, her voice cracking slightly. Brock sighed, running a hand through his hair. Well, we had some little problems, and little problems become big problems when you do not communicate, and that is not exactly my strong point. Cheyenne felt a cold wash of realization. Okay, that is what Mom said. Oh, yeah, like she is perfect, Brock chuckled, trying to lighten the mood. Chapter 8. The Art of Letting Go. The front door clicked open, and Reba walked into the house, carrying a small paper bag from the theater concession stand. She looked remarkably relaxed, a stark contrast to the usual tense energy she brought through the door. Cheyenne was waiting for her in the hallway. So, when did you get home? Reba asked casually, kicking off her shoes. A little while ago, Cheyenne said softly. It is nice out here, Reba commented, looking out the front window at the quiet street. So how was the movie? Cheyenne asked, shifting her weight from foot to foot. Good, Reba smiled. Did you know the last time I went to see a movie was before Jake was born? I do not know. So how did you guys make out tonight? Okay. Dad brought pizza, Cheyenne said. She took a deep breath, stepping closer to her mother. We also talked. Reba looked at her, waiting. That is nice, Reba finally said. Mom, you made me realize that I was wrong about a lot of things, Cheyenne said, the tears finally spilling over. I am so sorry about the horrible thing that I said to you. You have every right to kill me if you want to. Reba smiled gently, wrapping her arms around her pregnant daughter. Wow, there really is something to this doing nothing. Cheyenne pulled back, wiping her eyes. What does that mean? Well, I had a little talk with someone today myself, Reba explained, smoothing Cheyenne's hair. Of course, my talk cost me $80. What did you learn? Cheyenne asked, sniffing. That you and Van are married now, and that I have to let you make your own mistakes, Reba said firmly, though her eyes were full of love. That is how you're going to learn, so no more interfering. Sometimes the best thing I can do for the two of you is nothing at all. Cheyenne hugged her mother again, burying her face in Reba's shoulder. I love you, Mom, but you are still going to do laundry, right? Reba laughed, squeezing her tight. Upstairs, Van and Cheyenne stood in their bedroom, looking at the door. Fun had moved his cheerleader poster and tacked it to the back of the bedroom door. So, when you want to look at it, just open the door and the rest of the time, keep it shut, Cheyenne explained, smiling at her husband. Van grinned, pulling her into a hug. That is going to work great. We have an awesome marriage. I know, Cheyenne agreed, kissing his cheek. Van pulled back slightly, looking a bit sheepish. You can tell me? Okay. Okay, Cheyenne nodded. Well, I kind of was not going to say anything, Van admitted, rubbing the back of his neck, but I kind of wish you would not put that potpourri stuff in my underwear. I went through a whole practice with an acorn in my jockstrap. Cheyenne burst out laughing. I did not do that. Van looked horrified. Then who did? Cheyenne shrugged, a mischievous glint in her eye. Van groaned, shaking his head. I have been under a lot of stress. I have been under a lot of stress. The afternoon sun filtered through the sheer curtains of the suburban bedroom, casting a warm but unforgiving light on the absolute chaos that had taken over the space. It was a room that had once been a pristine sanctuary of teenage girlhood, but it currently resembled a disaster zone. Cheyenne stood near the doorway, her hands resting gently on her slightly rounded belly, taking in the sight before her. Van, her husband of barely a few weeks, stood amidst a sea of black plastic garbage bags. He was beaming, radiating that golden retriever energy that had made her fall in love with him in the first place. He held up a strange, vaguely mechanical-looking object, inspecting it with sheer delight. How does this look? Van asked, holding the object against the floral wallpaper, like a truck on a wall. Cheyenne forced a smile, swallowing the rising tide of panic. Perfect. Man, it feels good to have all your stuff back. I cannot believe your parents chucked it on the front lawn. Van shrugged, completely unfazed by his parents' dramatic eviction method. His focus was entirely on the joy of his reclaimed possessions. Yeah, but it was cool of the gardeners to help, though. That guy with the leaf blower really rounded up my socks fast. He dropped the object and looked around the cramped room, rubbing his hands together. So, where are you going to put the rest of this crap? Well, I'm going to put my clothes in the, or maybe the. He gestured vaguely toward a non-existent dresser before, tossing a pair of jeans downward. Or right here, on the floor. Reba, Cheyenne's mother, appeared in the doorway. She carried a basket of freshly folded laundry, her sharp eyes immediately scanning the disarray. Reba had always been the anchor of the house, a woman who kept her world spinning through sheer force of will and meticulously crafted schedules. I hope one of those trash bags has a maid in it, Reba said, her tone dry but laced with an undeniable undercurrent of affection. Van grinned, completely missing the sarcasm. Mrs. H, I am giving the room a touch of Van. Reba raised an eyebrow, navigating through the obstacle course of garbage bags. It is not a gentle touch, is it? Do you want to give me a hand? Here. Van hurried over, taking the laundry basket from her, but his attention was immediately drawn to a lumpy, brightly colored fabric spilling out of the nearest bag. What is that? He gasped, his eyes lighting up as if he had just discovered buried treasure. My lucky comforter. He pulled it out with a dramatic flourish. It was a violently bright combination of colors that clashed with every single aesthetic element in Cheyenne's carefully curated room. Wildcat colors, Van announced proudly. The orange and black tech. Reba did not even attempt to hide her grimace. More like Halloween. Vomit. Obviously Cheyenne has not seen this, Van said, clutching the hideous blanket to his chest. Is it not great? She is going to freak. Reba sighed, watching as Van rummaged further into the bag and pulled out a large, glossy poster. It featured a group of overly enthusiastic cheerleaders. In mid-jump. My girls, Van whispered reverently. Reba crossed her arms. You are going to hang that in here? Yeah, to help me get worked up, Van said earnestly. Then, realizing how that sounded, His cheeks flushed slightly. Not like that. For the game. He stared at the poster, his brow furrowing in. Concentration. But something is missing. Certainly not implants. Oh, No. He reached into another bag, pulled out a thick black marker, and began scribbling directly onto the glossy paper. He held it up for Reba to see. He had drawn a crude speech bubble coming from the head cheerleader's mouth. See, the head cheerleader is cheering me on, Van explained, tracing the letters. Go, Van. She really did not say that, but it is sort of like she did. Reba shook her head, a mixture of amusement and pity in her eyes. You are going to wish you had a bubble over your head when your wife gets here. It is all right, Mrs. H., Van assured her, completely oblivious to the impending storm. Cheyenne knew I was bringing my gear. She wants me to feel at home. Reba stepped closer, her maternal instincts kicking into high gear. She lowered her voice, offering a gentle but firm warning. Van, listen to me. This is not good. I know my daughter. She was moody before she was pregnant. Right on cue, Cheyenne walked back into the room. She froze, her eyes widening as they locked onto the offensive poster, now proudly displayed against the delicate wallpaper. Van spun around, a massive grin on his face. What do you think? Cheyenne blinked, her mind racing. She desperately wanted to be the cool, accommodating wife. She wanted to prove to everyone, especially her mother, that they could make this marriage work. She swallowed her true feelings and plastered on a bright, utterly unconvincing smile. Oh, my God. I love it, Cheyenne lied smoothly. Reba coughed softly. Liar. No, I do, Cheyenne insisted, shooting her mother a warning. Glare. Van beamed, looking back and forth between his wife and the poster. What is your favorite part? The headlights on the truck or the ones on the cheerleaders? Cheyenne hesitated, her eyes scanning the marker scribbles Van had added. It is hard to say. I guess it is the way it says. Mr. and Mrs. Van Montgomery live and love here. Reba turned on her heel and walked out of the room, muttering under her breath. Well, that sucked. Big time. Part 2. The Unwanted Additions. The morning sun brought no relief to Reba's mounting stress. She stood in the kitchen, a space that was usually her domain of order and peace, feeling as though the walls were closing in. Her life felt like a country song playing on a loop, a single mother working too hard, trying to keep a fractured family together with gentle hands and the heart of a fighter. She was a survivor, but right now, she just wanted someone to put the milk away. Hello? Did it ever occur to you that I might need some help? Reba called out to the empty hallway. I am not a mind reader. She walked into the living room and stopped dead in her tracks. There, dominating the center of her carefully arranged sitting area, was a massive, ungainly piece of exercise equipment. It looked like a cross between a medieval torture device and a very confused bicycle. Brock, her ex-husband, strolled in from the front door, looking entirely too relaxed for a man who was profoundly late. Wait a minute, Reba said, pointing an accusatory finger at him. What are you doing here? I do not know. Your father was supposed to pick you up half an hour ago. She turned to her young son, Jake, who was trailing behind Brock, happily tossing a baseball into his glove. Why do I bother making a schedule if nobody is going to stick to it? Reba continued, her voice rising in exasperation. I do not. No. Who put an empty carton of milk back in the refrigerator? I do not know. What is that? What is this contraption? Van bounded down the stairs, full of his usual boundless energy. This is the Exorcist, he announced, patting the padded seat of the machine. Affectionately, this little puffy is great for your abs and butt. Sorry, I did not mean to talk about your butt. Reba closed her eyes for a brief moment, praying for patience. Why is this in my living room? Well, there is no room in the garage, Van explained his logic, completely flawless in his own mind, and I figured this way everybody can use it. Plus, It has a good airflow, so the sweat smell will not knock you out. And luckily, it is downwind from the fancy eating table. Do not worry. It is totally portable. I can have it moved on a day's notice. Pretend I told you. Yesterday. Reba stared at him, utterly speechless, before turning her fiery gaze back to Brock. Well, it is about time. Your son has been waiting. It upsets him when you are late. Brock, completely unbothered by her tone, walked over to the exercise machine. Yes, level 3. He is a man. He hides his emotions. Brock examined the machine with genuine interest. Oh, the exorcist. Cool, huh? You know, maybe I will keep a pair of shorts over here, and we can work out together sometime. It is not staying, Reba snapped, shutting down the budding gym. Brotherhood instantly, in spite of what it could do for my butt. Let us go, buddy. Okay, I have made a list for you too. She handed Brock a meticulously written piece of paper. Brock groaned, glancing at the paper. Oh, you made a list of things I should do with my son. No, I would never do that, Reba replied sweetly, though her eyes flashed with steel. I made a list of things not to do. Like last week, you took him to the dog track. He won $75. Brock puffed out his chest slightly. You told me it was 50. Hey, those nachos were not free, Jake chimed in perfectly innocent. Brock sighed, ruffling Jake's hair. Come on, let us go, Jake. No golf? Jake asked, looking at the list. Reba, this list is ridiculous, Brock complained. The kid loves to caddy. Come on, let us go, let us go, let us go, Jake chanted, imitating his football coach. Hey, you sound just like Coach Howe. Now, tell me I am worthless and I hit like a girl. Reba winced, rubbing her temples. Oh, EW, if only you had read that a couple of months ago. Part 3, The Facade of Marital Bliss. Later that afternoon, the house was marginally quieter. Reba sat at the kitchen island, nursing a cup of tea, trying to regain a sense of equilibrium. Cheyenne walked in, looking pale and exhausted, her posture slumping as soon as she was out of Van's sight. Should not Van be here by now? Cheyenne asked, glancing at the clock on the wall. He will be here, Reba said gently. He is a football player. He is very busy. She took a sip of her tea, studying her daughter carefully. So how is the room you live and love in? Cheyenne let out a long, weary sigh. It is fine. It is a little more crowded with the exercise machine, thanks to you. Reba raised her eyebrows, feigning innocence. You let him put that in your room? My husband has a hot bod, and I fully support that. Oh, so how is Van's cheerleader posters growing on you? Not that those gals need to do any growing. Cheyenne dropped her head into her hands, the weight of her forced optimism finally crushing her. Mom, this is fun. No, I am curious. You should not be afraid to say what is on your mind, Reba argued gently. I do not know why you were not honest with him in the first place. Cheyenne glared at her mother, her words laced with venom. Well, maybe, because I did not want to drive him away like you drove away Dad. The words hung in the air, heavy and sharp, slicing right to the core of Reba's greatest insecurity. Whoa, whoa, get back here, Reba demanded as Cheyenne turned to leave. Cheyenne stopped, wiping her face. Look, Mom, I am sorry, okay? Just forget about it. No, I am not just going to forget about it, Reba said, her voice shaking slightly. Do you actually think I am the reason your father left? Well, is it not obvious? Cheyenne snapped. You pretty much control everything that happens around here. Reba felt tears pricking her own eyes. I would rather not take credit for this. You know what? Cheyenne continued, pacing the room in agitation. If something is not exactly the way that you think it should be, you just have to say something. Why cannot you just leave things alone? I mean, do you really think Dad would care what kind of comforter is on the bed? Reba looked at the bright orange and black monstrosity lying on the floor. She swallowed hard, her heart heavy with the weight of her failed marriage and her daughter's harsh judgment. No, Reba whispered softly. It is obvious your father is not picky about what is on his bed. Part 5. The Power of Doing Nothing. The therapist's office was a sanctuary of neutral tones and soft lighting, designed to soothe frayed nerves. Reba sat on the edge of the plush leather sofa, clutching a tissue in her hands, recounting the disastrous events of the past 48 hours. Oh, Reba, you are late, the therapist noted gently, glancing at the clock. I am sorry, Reba said, letting out a ragged breath. I got here as soon as I could. Is the rest of the family coming in for therapy? No, I figured it is easier to fix them when they are not here getting in the way, the therapist replied with a warm, knowing smile. So, what is the big emergency? Reba threw her hands in the air, the words spilling out in a rapid, stressed torrent. Where do I start? My 7-year-old son spent yesterday at the gynecologist. My daughter blames me for everything wrong in her life. And nobody bothers to put milk on the list. The therapist leaned back in her chair, steepling her fingers. Why do not we start with the thing that is bothering you the most? The milk, Reba deadpanned. The therapist chuckled softly. Reba, sometimes when life becomes chaotic, we tend to focus on controlling the smaller issues to avoid the bigger issues. Reba looked down at her hands, the truth of the statement stinging more than she wanted to admit. This is not the first time I have been accused of this controlling thing, and frankly, I would like to put a stop to it. I see, the therapist nodded, encouraging her to continue. I was the one that stuck by her, Reba explained, her voice thick with emotion. He was not even going to come to her wedding, which I planned myself. And do not get me started on that exorcist in her bedroom. No matter what I do, I get the blame. I should just let them fend for themselves for a change. They would fall flat on their face in 5 minutes, the therapist suggested mildly. Or they would learn to take care of themselves, Reba countered, though she sounded unconvinced. Fat chance, the therapist agreed. Well, you never know, until you give it a shot. Reba looked up, desperate for a concrete solution. So, what do I do? Nothing, the therapist said simply. Reba blinked, sure she had misheard. Say again? Look, I know it is a scary concept, but try it, the therapist advised, her voice calm and steady. Reba shook her head, thoroughly confused. You are losing me. Take some time for yourself, the therapist elaborated. Get a massage, go to a movie, take up a hobby. Reba sighed deeply, running a hand through her hair. Could not you just write me a prescription instead? Part 6. The Pizza Epiphany. The house was eerily silent when Jake bounded into the kitchen, his stomach rumbling loudly. He looked around, expecting to find his mother preparing dinner, but the room was completely empty. Cheyenne sat at the kitchen island, staring blankly at the wall, lost in her own misery. So what did Mom say exactly? Jake asked, pulling open the refrigerator door and staring into the desolate interior. She said, feed your brother and sister, I'm going to the movies, Cheyenne replied, her voice flat and lifeless. Jake slammed the refrigerator door shut, panic flashing across his young face. She has lost it. What are we going to eat? I do not know, Cheyenne muttered. There is like nothing in here. Van walked into the kitchen, looking exhausted and carrying a distinct aura of gloom. He stopped when he saw Cheyenne, the tension between them crackling in the air. What is going on? Van asked cautiously. So you are talking to me now? Cheyenne snapped, glaring at him. Only because I am hungry, Van retorted defensively. We are in a crisis, so go away. What is the crisis? Van asked, looking between his wife and his young brother-in-law. Mom bolted. So we have to make dinner for ourselves, Jake explained, his voice trembling slightly. Van's eyes widened in horror. No way. What are we going to eat? You eat the most. Why do not you make something? Cheyenne challenged him. Van puffed out his chest, trying to look resourceful. I can make chili. Cheyenne rolled her eyes. You got a can of chili? We are all going to die. Jake concluded dramatically, burying his face in his hands. Do I have to do everything myself? Suddenly, the front door swung open, and a glorious, unmistakable aroma wafted into the room. Daddy! Jake yelled, running toward the entryway. Brock stood there, holding 2 large, steaming pizza boxes, a triumphant smile on his face. Pizza man! Yay! Jake cheered, practically jumping into his father's arms. Daddy, I was this close to rolling Jake in a tortilla. Van bounded over, taking one of the boxes from Brock. Thanks, Coach. He opened the box and inhaled deeply. Onions. Cheyenne wrinkled her nose, glaring at her husband. If you have any interest in kissing me tonight, you will not eat those. Van hesitated, looking longingly at the pizza, then shut the box firmly. Onions. Brock watched the exchange, his brow furrowing. He set the remaining box on the counter and looked at the young couple. What is up with you? 2. We are having our first married fight, Cheyenne admitted her, voice cracking slightly. It is awful. Brock smiled softly, his eyes filled with a sad, nostalgic wisdom. Oh, honey, it is bound to happen sooner or later. Yeah, that is what Mom said, Cheyenne replied, crossing her arms defensively. Well, she should know, Brock chuckled dryly. We had 1,000 of those little fights, and then of course the one big one. Cheyenne huffed, leaning against the counter. Well, the whole thing is her fault anyway. I mean, I do not know how you live with her. She is such a control freak. Brock raised an eyebrow, surprised by the venom in his daughter's voice. Well, tell me about it. I got lists up the wazoo, Cheyenne complained, pacing the kitchen. Yeah, she is constantly interfering, telling people what to do, or what not to do. You know, it is no wonder she drove you away, Dad. Brock's expression shifted instantly. The easygoing, slightly goofy demeanor vanished, replaced by a profound seriousness. He looked at Cheyenne, then at Jake, who was already inhaling a slice of pepperoni. Say, listen, could you guys take your pizza and eat it in the living room? Brock asked quietly. Jake paused, pizza halfway to his mouth. Mom does not let us eat in the living room. Well, she is not here, Brock said, urging them forward. No. Wait a second. If that is the rule, then use napkins. And give yourself a timeout after you have finished. Once the boys were out of the room, Brock turned his full attention to Cheyenne. He took a deep breath, knowing that this was a conversation that was long overdue. Cheyenne, honey, you got it all wrong, Brock said, his voice gentle but firm. Your mama did not drive me away. Cheyenne frowned, confused. Dad, it is me. You do not have to defend her. Sweetheart, I am not the easiest guy to get along with, Brock admitted, rubbing the back of his neck. You know, the fact that your mama has always wanted to stay with me as long as she did shows just how amazing she really is. Cheyenne stared at him, stunned by this unexpected revelation. Why, I cannot believe you said that. Look, I know she can be tough sometimes, Brock continued, leaning against the counter and looking at his daughter with deep affection. But I have always admired the way she speaks her mind. Then what happened with you guys? Cheyenne asked, her voice barely a whisper. Brock sighed, the weight of his past mistakes heavy on his shoulders. Well, we had some little problems, and little problems become big. Problems when you do not communicate, and that is not exactly my strong point. Cheyenne felt a lump form in her throat. She realized, with a sudden, painful clarity, that she had been projecting her own fears and insecurities onto her mother. Okay, that is what Mom said, Cheyenne admitted softly. Brock smiled, a genuine, warm expression. Yeah, like she is. Perfect. Part 7. Finding the middle ground. Later that evening, Reba quietly let herself into the house. The scent of stale pizza lingered in the air, but the house was surprisingly intact. No fires, no broken furniture, no screaming matches. The silence was almost deafening. She walked out to the back patio, the cool night air a welcome relief. Cheyenne was sitting on the porch swing, wrapped in a blanket, looking out into the dark yard. So, when did you get home? Reba asked softly, not wanting to startle her. Cheyenne looked up, offering a small, tentative smile. A little while ago. It is nice out here. Reba walked over and sat down beside her, the chains of the swing creaking gently. So how was the movie? Cheyenne asked. Good, Reba replied honestly. Did you know the last time I went to see a movie was before Jake was born? Cheyenne's eyes widened slightly in surprise. I do not know. So how? Did you guys make out tonight? Okay, Cheyenne said, pulling the blanket tighter around her shoulders. Dad brought pizza. We also talked. Reba nodded, waiting patiently for her daughter to continue. That is nice, Reba murmured. Cheyenne turned fully toward her mother, her eyes bright with unshed tears. Mom, you made me realize that I was wrong about a lot of things. I am so sorry about the horrible thing that I said to you. You have every right to kill me if you want to. Reba felt a profound sense of relief wash over her. She reached out, pulling her daughter into a warm, tight embrace. Wow, there really is something to this doing nothing. Cheyenne pulled back slightly, a confused smile on her face. What does that mean? Reba chuckled, wiping away a stray tear from her own eye. Well, I had a little talk with someone today myself. Of course, my talk cost me $80. What did you learn? Cheyenne asked, genuinely curious. That you and Van are married now, and that I have to let you make your own mistakes, Reba explained, her voice steady and full of resolve. That is how you are going to learn, so no more interfering. Sometimes the best thing I can do for the two of you is nothing at all. Cheyenne smiled, leaning her head on her mother's shoulder. I love you, Mom, but you are still going to do laundry, right? Reba laughed, the sound ringing clear and true in the quiet night. Upstairs, a delicate peace had been brokered in the master bedroom. Van and Cheyenne stood together, looking at the open closet door. Inside, taped securely to the back of the door, was the glossy poster of the enthusiastic cheerleaders. So, when you want to look at it, just open the door and the rest of the time, keep it shut, Cheyenne explained, feeling a surge of pride in her newfound ability to compromise. Van grinned, wrapping his arms around her waist from behind. That is going to work great. We have an awesome marriage. I know, Cheyenne agreed, leaning back against his solid chest. Van rested his chin on her shoulder, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. You can tell me, okay? Okay, Cheyenne replied cautiously. Well, I kind of was not going to say anything, Van admitted, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. But I kind of wish you would not put that potpourri stuff in my underwear. I went through a whole practice with an acorn in my jockstrap. Cheyenne turned around in his arms, utterly bewildered. I did not do that. Van's eyes widened in realization. Then who did? Down the hall, Jake lay in his bed, a wicked, satisfied smile on his face. Back in the bedroom, Van shook his head, running a hand through his hair. I've been under a lot of stress. I have been under a lot of stress. Cheyenne laughed, wrapping her arms around his neck, finally feeling like they were a team. The road ahead was going to be messy, filled with terrible comforters, misplaced exercise machines, and the inevitable bumps of early adulthood. But as she looked into Van's eyes, she knew that as long as they kept communicating, they were going to be just fine. The afternoon sun filtered through the windows of the Montgomery household, casting a warm, golden glow over a scene of absolute, unmitigated chaos. Van stood in the center of the bedroom, his hands resting on his hips, admiring a poster that he had just hastily taped to the wall. He turned to his companion, a wide, triumphant grin plastered across his face. "How does this look?" Van asked, his voice brimming with pride. His companion squinted at the glossy image, like a truck on a wall. "Perfect," Van exclaimed, entirely missing the dry sarcasm. He let out a long, contented sigh, looking around at the numerous black trash bags scattered across the floor like lumpy plastic boulders. "Man, it feels good to have all my stuff back. I cannot believe my parents chucked it on the front lawn." "Yeah, but it was cool of the gardeners to help, though," his friend pointed out, leaning against the doorframe. "That guy with the leaf blower really rounded up your socks fast. So, where are you going to put the rest of this crap?" Van scratched the back of his neck, surveying the limited space. "Well, I'm going to put my clothes in the closet, or maybe the dresser, or right here, on the floor." He dropped a heavy bag onto the carpet with a dull thud. At that exact moment, Reba appeared in the doorway, her sharp eyes taking in the disaster zone that had once been a neatly kept bedroom. She folded her arms across her chest. "I hope one of those trash bags has a maid in it." "Monsieur Ash?" Van greeted her with genuine warmth, completely oblivious to her underlying critique. "I am giving the room a touch of Van." Reba raised an eyebrow, navigating carefully around a rogue sneaker. "It is not a gentle touch, is it? Do you want to give me a hand here?" Van asked, wrestling with a particularly stubborn, overstuffed bag. With a mighty heave, he pulled out a thick, garishly colored blanket. Reba blinked, physically recoiling slightly at the sight of it. "What is that?" "My lucky comforter," Van announced, holding it up like a prized tapestry. Wildcat colors, the orange and black tech. "More like Halloween vomit," Reba muttered under her breath. Though her eyes softened just a fraction, it was impossible to stay truly angry at Van. His earnestness was a shield against her sharper barbs. "Obviously, Cheyenne has not seen this," Reba said, pointing a finger at the bright orange catastrophe. "Isn't it great?" Van beamed. "She is going to freak." He reached into another bag and pulled out another poster, this one featuring a group of smiling, pom-pom-wielding women. "My girls." Reba stared at him, bewildered. "You're going to hang that in here?" "Yeah, to help me get worked up," Van said, then immediately caught the horrifying implication of his own words. His eyes widened. "Not like that. For the game." He swallowed hard, trying to regain his composure. "But something is missing. Certainly not implants." "Oh, I know." He pointed to the main figure in the poster. "See, the head cheerleader is cheering me on. Go, Van." She really did not say that, but it is sort of like she did. Reba shook her head slowly, a mixture of amusement and pity washing over her. "You are going to wish you had a bubble over your head when your wife gets here." "It is all right, Mrs. H," Van assured her, returning to his unpacking. "Cheyenne knew I was bringing my gear. She wants me to feel at home." "Van, listen to me," Reba said, her voice taking on a rare, gentle tone of warning. "This is not good. I know my daughter. She was moody before she was pregnant." Before Van could respond, the sound of footsteps echoed down the hall. Cheyenne stepped into the room, stopping dead in her tracks. Her eyes darted from the orange and black comforter to the poster of the cheerleaders, and finally to her husband. "What do you think?" Van asked, bouncing slightly on the balls of his feet. Cheyenne's face went through a rapid series of microscopic contortions before settling on a wide, painfully artificial smile. "Oh my goodness, I love it." Reba coughed softly into her hand. "Liar." No, I do," Cheyenne insisted, her voice an octave higher than usual. What is your favorite part? Van asked eagerly. The headlights on the truck or the ones on the cheerleaders? Cheyenne's eye twitched. It is hard to say. I guess it is the way it says. Mr. and Mrs. Van Montgomery live and love here. As soon as Van turned around to unpack another bag, Cheyenne looked at her mother, her artificial smile dropping instantly into an expression of pure, unadulterated horror. Well, Reba whispered, patting her daughter's shoulder. That sucked. Big time. Chapter 2, The Exorcist in the Living Room. The following morning, Reba walked into her living room, a steaming mug of coffee in her hand, singing softly to herself. My roots are planted in the past, though my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I want to be. A single mom who works too hard, a daughter who loves her kids and never stops. With gentle hands and the heart of a fighter, I am a survivor. She stopped mid-note. Sitting right in the middle of her meticulously arranged living room was a massive, complicated structure of metal bars, padded benches, and heavy black weights. Hello. Reba called out to the empty room. Did it ever occur to you that I might need some help? I am not a mind reader. Suddenly, the front door swung open, and Brock strolled in, looking completely relaxed. Wait a minute, Reba said, her eyes narrowing. What are you doing here? I do not know. Your father was supposed to pick you up half an hour ago. Why do I bother making a schedule if nobody is going to stick to it? I do not know. Who put an empty carton of milk back in the refrigerator? I do not know. She took a breath, pointing a trembling finger at the iron monstrosity. What is that? What is this contraption? This is the Exorcist, Brock announced cheerfully, patting the leather bench. This little puffy is great for your abs and butt. Sorry, I did not mean to talk about your butt. Why is this in my living room? Reba demanded. Well, there is no room in the garage, and I figured this way everybody can use it, Brock reasoned. Plus, it is a good airflow, so the sweat smell will not knock you out. And luckily, it is downwind from the fancy eating table. Do not worry. It is totally portable. I can have it moved on a day's notice. Pretend I told you yesterday, Reba deadpanned. At that moment, little Jake ran into the room, a massive smile on his face. Well, it is about time, Reba sighed. Your son has been waiting. It upsets him when you are late. Yes. Level 3, Jake yelled, ignoring his mother completely. He is a man, Brock whispered to Reba. He hides his emotions. Brock then turned his attention to the workout machine. Ooh, the Exorcist. Cool, huh? You know, maybe I will keep a pair of shorts over here, and we can work out together sometime. It is not staying, Reba said firmly, crossing her arms. In spite of what it could do for my butt. Let us go, buddy. As Brock moved toward the door with Jake, Reba grabbed a piece of paper from the counter and held it out. Okay, I have made a list for you too. Brock groaned, taking the paper. Oh, you made a list of things I should do with my son. No, I would never do that, Reba replied sweetly. I made a list of things not to do. Like last week, you took him to the dog track. He won $75. You told me it was 50. Brock protested, looking at Jake. Hey, those nachos were not free. Jake shrugged defensively. Come on, let us go, Jake. Brock sighed. He glanced down at the list. No golf? Reba, this list is ridiculous. The kid loves to caddy. Come on, let us go, let us go, let us go. Reba ushered them out. The door. Hey, you sound just like Coach Howe. Now tell me I am worthless. And I hit like a girl. As the door closed behind them, Kyra walked downstairs, catching the tail end of the conversation. She picked up a magazine from the coffee table and flipped through it, making a disgusted noise. EW, if only you had read that a couple of months ago. Shouldn't Van be here by now? He will be here, Reba said, picking up her coffee again. He is a football player. He is very busy. Kyra smirked. So how is the room you live and love in? It is fine, Cheyenne said, entering the living room from the Kitchen looking exhausted. It is a little more crowded with the exercise. Machine, thanks to you. You let him put that in your room? Kyra asked, her eyes widening. In disbelief. My husband has a hot body and I fully support that, Cheyenne declared proudly, lifting her chin. Kyra rolled her eyes. Oh, so how are Van's cheerleader posters growing? On you? Not that those gals need to do any growing. Mom, this is fun, Kyra added, enjoying her sister's visible discomfort. No, I am curious, which one is your favorite? Brandy with the I or Brandy with the Y? Right, Cheyenne snapped, her defensive posture crumbling. They are all stupid and two of them are not even that cute. She collapsed onto the sofa, burying her face in her hands. Oh, thank the Lord, my little girl is back. Mom, marriage is hard. I actually have to think about his feelings. It is so unfair. Reba sat down next to her eldest daughter, wrapping a comforting arm around her shoulders. Tell me about it. You know, it is scary when you are dating and it ends. It is like, who cares? You know, you're going to college. But when your marriage breaks up, you are just a loser. Reba suddenly stopped, realizing what she had just said. No, I am sorry. I did not mean you. I meant for young people. Are you through? Cheyenne asked softly. Yeah, I think so. Reba patted her back gently. Look, you are going to have to tell Van how you are feeling. You are right, Cheyenne said, finding a spark of resolve. I will tell him as soon as he gets here. Well, at least he is coming. When I was pregnant, your father would not get within 50 feet of a gynecologist's office. Chapter 3. The Breaking Point. Later that afternoon, the front door swung open to reveal Brock, holding the hand of a very sticky, very energetic Jake. Oh, hey Rudy, Brock said to a passing neighbor before stepping inside. Mom, Jake yelled, running past his father. What? Guess what I just saw. I got a picture of it. Reba took the crumpled ultrasound photo from her son, her brow furrowing in deep confusion. Oh, the baby. Why is he here? Why are you here? She demanded, turning her fierce gaze upon her ex-husband. Oh, Dr. Schmidt and I are doing this trade thing, Brock explained casually, completely ignoring the storm clouds gathering on Reba's face. He is taking care of Barbara Jean, and I am giving his wife a root canal. I am coming out way ahead on the deal. Hey, Reba, Brock continued, smiling oblivious to the danger. Dr. Schmidt is terrific. What is wrong with you? Reba exploded, her voice echoing in the hallway. This is supposed to be father-son time, not father-son-mistress gynecologist time. Oh, come on. Brock defended himself, gesturing vaguely. The kid had a blast. Besides, you are always after me to do stuff with him that is educational. Reba looked over to see Jake holding up a plastic anatomical model he had clearly smuggled out of the doctor's office. Jake, put that down. The uterus is not a toy. She turned back to Brock, her hands on her hips. This is why I give you lists. Yeah, well, the gynecologist's office was not on the not-to-do list. Brock countered with the logic of a teenager. You do not see strip club on the list either, Reba shot back, her tone dangerously low. But I can write it down if there are any questions. Oh boy, here we go again, Brock sighed heavily. Because you never change. Can you please talk about this later? Cheyenne pleaded from the stairs, rubbing her temples. Let us everybody take a deep breath and visualize the beach. You want to know what I am visualizing? Reba started, but Brock held up his hands in surrender. All right, we are leaving. Let us go, Jake. Where are we going? Jake asked, looking up at his father. Well, son, I do not know, but we certainly will not be getting our new shoes wet, Brock muttered as they exited the house. Almost immediately after they left, Van burst through the door, wearing his football practice gear. Hey, coach, how's it going? He called out, to empty air before turning to Cheyenne. Hey, babe, I am sorry I am late. I hope you are not mad. Of course I am not mad, Cheyenne lied smoothly. You are my husband and I love you. I could not decide what to wear. I have never been examined by a gynecologist before. Montgomery, wish me luck, Van said, kissing her cheek. Thank you. The phone on the kitchen counter rang loudly. Reba snatched it up. Hello, hello. Where is Ross? Well, he seemed a little tense, so I dropped him off at the driving range after dinner. Dinner? I had a banana split, a candy bar, and a nice mocha. Can I stay up all night? Please thank Brock for bringing him home late and all jacked up on sugar. I know what is really bothering you, and I just want to assure you that Jake was out of the room with Brock while I was being looked at by the down there doctor. I will call later. She slammed the phone down. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. Reba turned her attention back to her daughter. Cheyenne, I thought you were going to tell him to get that machine out of your room. I was, Cheyenne admitted, looking at the floor. But then I realized it does not really bother me. Van needs his space, and I did not want to make a big deal about it, Mom. Well, I do, Reba said, marching toward the bedroom. Mom? Mom, stop! Cheyenne chased after her. Inside the bedroom, Van was happily lifting weights on the exorcist machine. Go, Van. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Come on. Come on. Go, Van. Go. Hey, Mrs. H, Van panted, noticing Reba in the doorway. You cannot keep this thing in here, Reba stated firmly. It is okay, Van smiled, lowering the weights. Cheyenne said it was cool. Tell him. Cheyenne froze. Tell me what? Van asked, looking confused. Tell him you do not want this thing in here, Reba urged her. Daughter. What? Mom. Not now, Cheyenne hissed. He has been living out of trash bags for a week. I do not mind. But she does, Reba insisted, standing her ground. Van looked deeply wounded. What? You do not like my trash bag? System? Look, it is not really a system, Van, Cheyenne finally cracked, the frustration bubbling to the surface. It is more like a big, disgusting mess. Big, disgusting mess? Van repeated, his voice cracking slightly. Is that your fancy way of saying you do not like it? Yeah, Cheyenne admitted, crossing her arms defensively. Van stood up, shaking his head. I cannot believe this. What is next? You are going to tell me you do not like the cheerleaders? Cheyenne remained silent, her expression saying it all. Oh man, this is a nightmare, Van groaned, running his hands through his hair. It is like I do not even know you. How could you possibly think that I would want to wake up every day and see that in my room? I am sorry, Van said softly, looking defeated. I thought it was our room. Come on, girls. We are out of here. He grabbed his duffel bag and pushed past them. Van, Cheyenne called out, but he was already gone. She whipped around to face her mother, her eyes blazing with tears and anger. Thanks a lot, Mom. Now, Cheyenne, it was going to happen sooner or later, Reba reasoned, trying to remain calm. You cannot live like this. Oh, and screaming at each other is so much better? Cheyenne yelled. Just because you are married, you should not be afraid to say what is on your mind. I do not know why you were not honest with him in the first place. Well, maybe because I did not want to drive him away like you drove away, Dad, Cheyenne spat out, instantly regretting the words as soon as they left her mouth. Reba stood perfectly still, the color draining from her face. Whoa, whoa, get back here, she said, her voice a dangerous whisper. Look, Mom, I am sorry, okay? Cheyenne cried, wiping her eyes. Just forget about it. No, I am not just going to forget about it, Reba said, her voice shaking with hurt. Do you actually think I am the reason your father left? Well, isn't it obvious? Cheyenne argued, desperate to deflect her own marital failure. You pretty much control everything that happens around here. I would rather not take credit for this. You know what? If something is not exactly the way that you think it should be, you just have to say something. Why cannot you just leave things alone? I mean, do you really think Dad would care what kind of comforter is on the bed? Reba looked at her daughter, a profound sadness settling in her chest. No, It is obvious your father is not picky about what is on his bed. Chapter 4. The Art of Doing Nothing. The next morning, Reba sat in a plush, overly comfortable chair in her therapist's office. She stared out the window, her mind racing through the events of the previous evening. "Oh, Reba," the therapist said gently, closing the office door. "You are late." "I am sorry," Reba sighed, running a hand through her vibrant hair. "I got here as soon as I could. Is the rest of the family coming in for therapy?" "No," the therapist replied, taking a seat across from her. "I figured it is easier to fix them when they are not here getting in the way. So, what is the big emergency?" Reba let out a bitter laugh. "Where do I start? My 7-year-old son spent yesterday at the gynecologist. My daughter blames me for everything wrong in her life, and nobody bothers to put milk on the list." The therapist leaned forward, resting her notebook on her lap. "Why don't we start with the thing that is bothering you the most? The milk." Reba nodded slowly, completely serious. "You know, Reba, sometimes when life becomes chaotic, we tend to focus on controlling the smaller issues to avoid the bigger issues. You know, this is not the first time I have been accused of this controlling thing," Reba admitted, a hint of vulnerability slipping into her voice. "And frankly, I would like to put a stop to it." "I see. I was the one that stuck by her," Reba explained, her frustration mounting again. "He was not even going to come to her wedding, which I planned myself. And do not get me started on that exorcist in her bedroom. No matter what I do, I get the blame. I should just let them fend for themselves for a change. They would fall flat on their face in 5 minutes," Reba added, with grim certainty. "Or they would learn to take care of themselves," the therapist offered gently. "Fat chance." "Well, you never know until you give it a shot," the therapist smiled. Reba looked at her, skeptical. "So what do I do?" "Nothing." "Say again." "Look, I know it is a scary concept, but try it," the therapist encouraged. "You are losing me." "Take some time for yourself," the therapist explained. "Get a massage, go to a movie, take up a hobby." Reba stared at her for a long moment. "Couldn't you just write me a prescription instead?" Chapter 5. Independence and Pizza. Later that evening, the kitchen of the Montgomery household was eerily quiet. Cheyenne, Kyra, and Jake stood in a circle, staring blankly at the empty countertops. "So, what did Mom say exactly?" Kyra asked, breaking the silence. Cheyenne sighed, rubbing her forehead. "She said, 'Feed your brother and sister. I'm going to the movies.' She has lost it," Kyra concluded, crossing her arms. "What? Are we going to eat?" "I do not know," Cheyenne groaned, opening the refrigerator to reveal empty shelves. "There's like nothing in here." Van walked into the kitchen, his posture rigid, refusing to make eye contact with his wife. "What is going on?" Kyra asked. "So you are talking to me now?" Van directed toward Cheyenne. "Only because I am hungry," Cheyenne shot back.